Okay, hello. Getting quite a late start today. I think I am just gonna change my stream start time to 7:30 instead of 7. Just been having trouble getting everything set up in time for 7, and this game took longer than expected. Took a bit longer to set up. So yeah, let's go into the menu so I can chat for a minute. So the past couple days I played through Sonic 1 and then I played through Sonic 2, and I had a great time revisiting those. All three of these games are extremely special to me. Especially just had such a blast playing Sonic 2 yesterday. It was so fun revisiting that. It's just been too long since I played through it. But today, it's Sonic's anniversary month and all, so that's kind of part of what inspired this, but I also just kind of had the desire to play these. But today I'm playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is one of my top 10 favorite games of all time, and definitely my favorite Sonic game. For a while I was kind of like, between this and Sonic 2, I still adore Sonic 2, that's my second favorite, but this game just surpassed it over the years. I think this game is incredibly ambitious for the time, and I think it not only, I think each of these games just improved one after the other, and I think this game is like the height of the classic Sonic era. It's like this huge culmination. It takes you on such a journey. It's a significantly bigger game than the previous two. I've heard some people say they prefer Sonic 2 is kind of like a bit shorter and more compact, and I understand that. But I love the journey this game takes you on, and it's not only like the pinnacle of like 2D Sonic's level design. Until Mania, maybe. There's a case for Mania kind of refining it even further. For me, Mania and this game are kind of neck and neck in that regard. Though this game is a lot more special to me than Mania just because of like the storytelling aspect, and how it's a much more connected world. It's much more of a cohesive adventure. And it's the original. Mania is kind of based on a lot of other games, and it's more of a celebration of the whole series. And I think it's really good at doing that. But for me, kind of like the original adventures that inspired it will always be more kind of special than that kind of celebration. But yeah, there's so much I love about this game. I'm going to be gushing like this whole playthrough. But yeah, a lot of it comes down to the way the levels connect between each other, and how this is when Sonic, when it really started to feel like it was like inviting me into a world. Like, this game is just so full of life, and it felt like I was fully in this like other universe. Much more like in Sonic 2, the zones are kind of more disconnected. Sonic 1, as I talked about, there's a bit of a progression between them. But this one, it really feels like you're in this one specific location, fully exploring it. There's like a story going on, like Knuckles is hanging out in the background. As the game goes on, like different like set piece events happen that kind of string together, and it's just all alongside like what I think are like the best design and like funnest levels to play of the three games. So yeah, hydrate for a minute. And originally, of course, this was split into two games, and that's what's weird about it. So, like, Sonic 3 standalone was released at the beginning of 1994, and then later in the same year, at the end of the year, Sonic and Knuckles was released. And they were always meant to be one big game, and they were split due to, like, the ambition of the team and how costly it was to make such a big game at the time. And also because Sega had like a Happy Meal deal. Sorry, so yeah, Sega had like a deal with McDonald's for like Happy Meal toys, so they wanted to release Sonic 3. They kind of like didn't rush it out the door, but they wanted Sonic 3 to release in time for that deal to take place. So the games were split into two. And when Sonic and Knuckles came out, you could attach the two cartridges together to play like the full, complete adventure as it was always intended to be. And that's what I'm playing today, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, as it came to be called. Unfortunately, this kind of weird split nature is what, in my opinion, led to this game being kind of overlooked in like the mainstream conversation with games. It's very beloved among like core Sonic fans, but if you ask a lot of people kind of outside that fan base, they'll often say like, oh, Sonic 2 is the one they played a lot or remember or love the most of the classic games. And a lot of people like maybe played a little of 3 or a little of Sonic and Knuckles, but I feel like relatively few played the full package. And if you look at a lot of like greatest games of all time lists, you'll often see Sonic 2, but I feel like not often Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And like that's why among like popular, like pop culture, well-known games, I always have considered this like the most overlooked popular game of all time in a sense. Because to me, it's a little like if Super Mario Bros. 3 was kind of just historically overlooked, and like Mario Worlds was the only one people talked about, right? Or like Mario 64. Obviously, that's not the case. All those games are very like beloved and everything, but Sonic 3 is like weirdly under the radar, and that's because I think it's because it was split up. And Sonic 2 just kind of provides that more complete package in like a single game. And obviously there's other differences between the two, and obviously I recognize some people just have played them both and prefer Sonic 2, and that's totally fine. I just think by and large, I don't think splitting the game up into two really kind of like helped its reputation. But like I did with the other two, going to read the story in the manual before I jump into it. And this will definitely be a longer stream than the other two I got through in like a little over an hour. This game's going to be at least like 3 or 4 hours. And I am going to try to go for all 14 emeralds. I'm very rusty at the special stages, but these are some of the only special stages in this series I'm kind of like fond of and able to do. Okay, so this is a direct sequel to Sonic 2. Kind of picks up right where that game left off, where they just destroyed the Death Egg, and it kind of crashes down. So it says, Sonic's adventure continues. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 takes place on the mysterious floating island, which holds many special powers. The source of these powers are Chaos Emeralds. In Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I love this, I love how closely connected they are. Sonic and Tails thought that they had destroyed the Death Egg, which was Dr. Robotnik's heavily armored ship. Instead, Dr. Robotnik managed to crash land on the floating island. After learning that the island is able to float in the sky by harnessing the power of the emeralds, the Doc decides to steal the emeralds so he can repair the Death Egg ship. To obtain the emeralds, Dr. Robotnik tricks Knuckles, the guardian of Floating Island's Chaos Emeralds. Of the Floating Island's Chaos Emeralds. He also tells Knuckles that Sonic and Tails are the ones trying to steal the emeralds. Between battling the new types of badniks and trying to outsmart Knuckles, Sonic and Tails have their work cut out for them once they arrive on the floating island and search for Dr. Robotnik. And then it goes on to say how much bigger the zones are and how you can play as Sonic and Tails. And then they give this cute little profile for Knuckles, which is great. So his age is 15 years, at least at the time this game released. Species Echidna. Favorite fruits, fruit, especially grapes. It's a famous little bit of trivia. Special abilities, discovering hidden passageways and using his knuckles to dig. Knuckles was born and raised on the floating island and he knows all of its secrets. He's strong, athletic, and clever. Because Knuckles knows every hidden passageway on the island, it's easy for him to block Sonic's path, create extra obstacles, set traps, and steal Sonic's gold rings, capital G-R there, which is funny. Long ago, an ancient civilization lived on the floating island. Before the civilization mysteriously disappeared, it left behind many secrets and mystical powers. Being the only living descendant of this lost civilization, Knuckles has become the guardian of the Chaos Emeralds, which are the source of the island's special floating power. Dr. Robotnik's Death Egg has lost its ability to fly after crash landing on the island. Having learned that the Chaos Emeralds can make his ship fly again, the Doctor decides to steal the emeralds. But first, he must make Knuckles believe that Sonic and Tails are his enemies, and that they're the ones trying to steal the emeralds. Once Knuckles believes Robotnik's lies, he'll do whatever it takes to stop Sonic and Tails. So quite a lot of narrative going on compared to the other two. There was kind of they've gotten more and more narrative. Like the first one was just like stop Dr. Robotnik. The second one had this whole thing where Sonic meets up with Tails, and Robotnik is building this Death Egg Doomsday machine. And here we have like this whole setup. So yeah, at the end of Sonic 2, you disable the Death Egg and it crashes down on the floating island, aka Angel Island, which is like its proper name. And then Angel Island crashes into the ocean. And Sonic and Tails, it's like right, as far as I know, it's right after the end of Sonic 2. They just fly right over there, and that's what you see in the intro cutscene. All the power-ups. And then we get to the zones. Angel Island, welcome to the floating island. Things will really heat up once Dr. Robotnik sets fire to this area of the island. Beware of the flying battery ship, or blimp, rather. Hydro City, spelled Hydrocity here, which is like the infamous mispronunciation. And I always called it Hydrocity as a kid. I still sometimes do. I believe it is meant to be Hydro City, though. But Hydrocity does kind of roll off the tongue, and it's fun to say. Keep Sonic's lungs filled with air as you explore the underwater regions of the island. Marble Garden, use Sonic's spin dash attack to crash through marble barriers and propel Sonic up steep hills as he explores this ancient city. Carnival Night. Nightlife on the floating island is exciting. Bounce and flip your way across this colorful zone, which is filled with anti-gravity platforms. Ice Cap Zone, big favorite of mine. Things will get pretty chilly as Sonic and Tails slide their way through this Arctic wasteland. Be sure to smash open blocks of ice to reveal power-ups and hidden passageways and launch base. You're getting close to where Dr. Robotnik is repairing his Death Egg ship. This is your last chance to stop the Doc's evil scheme. It's not actually your last chance, because this is only halfway through the game. And I think what I'm going to do, there's also Sonic and Knuckles, that manual to read. I think I'm going to read that after I finish the game, just so I can jump into it. There's not a ton of manual reading. I'm just going to split them up there. And then, can read about the rest of the zones towards the end of the game. And then we have kind of the multiplayer, this kind of like unique areas for the multiplayer mode this time, which is cool. And I love like the look and the music and all the multiplayer zones, actually. I think like Endless Mine, like it's such a good song. And it actually kind of, I think it's unconfirmed, but it theoretically formed the basis for Escape from the City. Jun Sano worked on this game, who also went on to work on, so many other Sonic soundtracks in the future, including the Sonic Adventure games. And the Escape from the City melody in Sonic Adventure 2 is very similar to Endless Mine. And then we have all the badniks. There's a ton of them. Buggernaut. So yeah, I always loved all the badnik arts. So what was really interesting, and this is kind of like part of the mystique of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So as a kid, I got Sonic 3 and it was super exciting. I had no idea it was only half of a game, really. And there were all these elements of the game that felt mysterious. Like there's these passages in the levels you can't reach. And there's enemies like this, Techno Squeak, which appears nowhere in the game. There might be another one in here that doesn't. It might just be this one, I'm pretty sure. So this is an enemy that appears in the Flying Battery Zone in Sonic and Knuckles. But they put them in the Sonic 3 manual, and it's like a mistake. I think, unless they are somewhere in Sonic 3, but to my knowledge, I don't think they are. So when you're a kid and you just have like the one game to play, you like obsess over this stuff. Like it stands out. Like I replay and play the game, and I'm like, where does that enemy appear? It's so strange. And if you used the level select code, you would actually see names of levels from Sonic and Knuckles, like unused levels, or levels that would later appear in the second half of the game. And the hidden passageways in the different zones are because those are Knuckles routes, because Knuckles was always meant to be playable. And he's not until Sonic and Knuckles, of course. So it just kind of gave this game this extra layer of like mystery. Like there was all this hidden content. So yeah, so anyways, you can be Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, of course. So Knuckles route, I've always kind of felt this way. I always kind of wished that Knuckles' campaign was actually unlocked after you do Sonic's, because Knuckles' story is actually an epilogue to the main Sonic campaign, and they have some different bosses, or at least a different final boss, and some differences between the zones and different routes through the levels. There is at least one other boss. There's a boss in, I'll talk about it when I get to it, but there was like a unique final boss to Sonic 3, and you don't actually fight it in the Sonic campaign, but you fight it in Knuckles' story, I think, because Knuckles is meant to be kind of the harder mode, because it's meant to be played after Sonic's story. Some more water. So I'm actually playing this on the Wii, the original Wii Virtual Console. I couldn't play it on the PS3 collection. I played the other two on because that actually just has the two separate games, Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, but it doesn't have Sonic 3 and Knuckles together, the combined full game. So I broke out my Wii because I've been having trouble streaming from the original Genesis hardware due to sound issues, and this is kind of like the next best version I own, basically. I tried the PS2 Mega Collection, but that I was having some sound issues with that one too. The sound on that is kind of glitched. So yeah, all right, let's jump in. Yeah, I can't wait to go through this again. Yeah, you have this awesome intro cutscene. The other two games didn't have this. It's like it's such an added focus on storytelling. I love that. You see, going to the island, and it really feels like you're in this area, right? There's such a sense of place. There's our introduction to Knuckles. So yeah, like I really feel like I'm like in like this jungle now, right? You see the ocean in the background. Like the other two Sonic games just dumped you into the first zone, but here they have this whole introduction, so you really feel like you're like in a part of the world. And that's just like the start of how this game feels so much more like an experience, right? So much more like you're part of a story. Alright, and here's the special stages. These ones I'm going to try to actually do. I love the music of them. I love the vibes. I'm not going to go for all the rings, because those are just continues, which the game has a save function, so we don't need that anyway. But yeah, the little like... Whoa, 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 whoa. I've always been fond of that. Some people like hate these special stages and they love like Sonic 2s or maybe even Sonic 1s. I always liked these, they just click with me, I don't know. I just think they're like a really fun like puzzle. And they're not too bad in the first half of the game, but once you get to the Super Emeralds in the second half, they get pretty rough. And there is like besides just getting Supersonic, there is like a hidden ultimate final battle that you unlock if you get all of them. Which is again something that started with this game that went on to become kind of a trend in later Sonics. So yeah, I feel like I always thought it was weird you can see down the below the shimmering. It's like the water. I love how this environment looks. It's so lush. There's like a little waterfall in the background. Everything, like the environment feels like a lot more detailed than the other two games. We don't have enough rings for the bonus. This moment's so cool. Just a cool little set piece. So yeah, so partway into the first act, this little, and you see all the machines in the background, right? Like there's this whole story going on, and then they're setting fire to the whole jungle, right? And then everything's on fire, and that just blows me away. Like for a game of this era, the way this game, what it does with like the different levels and the way they're constantly changing the environment and like evolving the environment is so cool. And that's what makes this game so next level. It's like taking like all the great, oh that's not good. I'm not paying attention because I'm talking. Okay, we got it. It takes like and evolves how fun the level design was in the first two games, the second game especially, and layers on like all these like little set piece moments and storytelling moments and like environmental details that just draw you into the world. And that's like, between these three games, that's like the birth of what Sonic would become, right? It has all these like creative level themes, you know, with like this speedy like momentum platforming, and then it went on to become kind of like, you know, heavy with like the storytelling as the series went on, especially when you take into account like the comics and the TV shows and everything. Like it, oh whoa, I thought those would turn into rings. So I'm rusty, I haven't played this in a while, so I'm like forgetting how some of them work. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get them all. I want to at least get the first 7, and that's how you unlock like the true final boss. You don't actually need to do all the super emeralds to do that. So, as long as I get those, I'm good, but we'll try. Oh, the lightning shield's up there, I want to get that. That's my favorite power-up. Of course, Sonic and Tails like have like new sprites. Sonic does, I'm actually not positive if Tails does. So right there, so you can see those rocks, it's like, if you're Knuckles, you bust through there, and that was still there in the standalone Sonic 3, and it felt so, like, mysterious. This part of the song's so good. Look at the background with, like, the shimmering heat with the trees. It's just so cool. So if you have this shield, this boss is just, like, a pushover. Yeah, it added, like, the elemental shield power-ups. Like, it started adding in, like, actual, like, power-ups, which is cool. Which the other games didn't really have. And mini-bosses, too, between the acts, which is another new thing, which is cool. And then here's the best part. And then the zone just seamless. You just go right into the second act, and there's different music to the second act. And as the game goes on, the second acts have like different aesthetics to them. The environment changes, and it's so good. It's just so good, and still so unique. There's not a lot of platformers that kind of have this format where you have these levels that kind of transition into these like a first half and a second half with like different music, and it's like you're going on this little mini journey through the level, and it feels like such a special, like, compact experience. Like each level in itself feels like its own little like game, like its own little adventure. The only game I am like aware of that quite does that is the first Freedom Planet game, which is like a spiritual successor to this game, basically, that I also love very much. concentrate for a minute. Okay. And then, Freedom Planet 2, like, it kind of does it in a way, but it's different. It does, like, split the levels up, but it will kind of have, like, 2 levels, one after the other, and they both will be kind of telling the same story or have, like, a lot of the same thematic things going on. They just kind of split them apart instead of having them, like, be, like, kind of more of this seamless transition. So it's a little different. But I really love, like, this particular format where it's kind of like this seamless transition. It just feels... It just makes each level, like, just sing so much. Like, really stand out. Be memorable. I love doing this. It's so fun. There is an extra life down here. And yeah, so in standalone Sonic 3, a lot of these sound effects and some of the music, like for the mini-bosses, was actually different. And in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, they just have the Sonic and Knuckles versions. There's like those little windows. It's almost like these were like maybe some of the houses of like the little... Well, I guess Angel Island's kind of abandoned except Knuckles. I was going to say for like other animal people, but maybe not. Maybe in the past or something. And you know, you got your little... There's several different unique little bonus stages, which is also something new to this game. Again, there's like just so much in this game. And yeah, there's like different, like I said, like Sonic and Knuckles both have their own campaign. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles have their own gameplay styles. You can fly with Tails in this one, which I don't think you could actually do in Sonic 2. Yeah, it's just like the full experience, and again, I just love the adventure it takes you on. And yeah, there's so much to explore in these levels, too. There's just, like, so many little secret routes and everything. Keep not hearing the little wow when you get the bubble. I love that sound. I'll just skip that now. This part is always so fun. Oh wow. Ugh. That sound effect is weird in this port. They didn't quite get the sound right in these Sonic ports. But yeah, that's the flying battery, Robotnik's like airship in this game, kind of like Wing Fortress. So you have this cool little set piece, like Robotnik's just like burning down the forest. He's trying to rout Sonic out. He's like, get off the island, you know, I'm trying to prepare my death egg. I gotta kill this guy. He's always messing up my plans, and there he goes. You have like a little intro to it's so cool. Like, so, what a great intro to the game. Just like so like thematic and stuff. And it's all interactive too. It was like, this was like, you know, one of the starts of just kind of this interactive like storytelling. Yeah, especially with Tails, like super easy first boss. Alright. So yeah, I love Angel Island's one. The one thing about Angel Island is I wish she spent a little more time when it's just kind of like the green lush part. But I still think Robotnik's Setting on a Fire is so cool. So Knuckles knows all the hidden routes, so he plunges us down into like these aquatic ruins underneath the island. So we're still on Angel Island. We're just like deep underground now, and like this ruined city. As the manual mentioned, there was like this ancient civilization that Knuckles is kind of like the last survivor of and watching over. And you kind of see that evolve throughout the game as you visit kind of these different ruins. So there's like all this kind of little environmental storytelling going on in the background. It makes you feel like you're part of this world in such a big way. Oh, just something else, you know, I love compared to the other two. doing in here. Gotta remember where all the rings are. The giant rings for the special stages. And those bullets, so you don't need air when you're in the bubble, and the bullets actually bounce off it, which is great. They kind of like, probably listen to criticism about the water levels. People struggling with the water levels and the other two. This part is so fun. I think there is a special stage around here, but whatever. So cool. So yeah, Hydro City is probably like the best water level in the series, especially Act 2. It's just really speedy, really fun to play through. And then the music in Act 2 is legendary. This little switch. Okay. Is that a special stage? I don't think it is in there. But Tails is drowning. You can see the little numbers. Luckily the song doesn't play for Tails. Also, it's cool, like the water, the way it looks. There it is. When you're under it, you can like kind of see the surface from below, and then when you're above it, you see it in the back. There's like a depth to it, like the parallax or whatever. So cool. I always like how this one looked, kind of the blue, and it's a candy cane aesthetic. It's when it starts to get intense, when you gotta jump. There's something about this song that... maybe a lot of it's nostalgia, but it's something like emotional about it to me, especially this part of the song. It's something just like so... it's got like this emotional core to it. I always really loved this song. It's probably my favorite special stage theme in the series. But that's a lot of this game. It's like, this is my favorite, this part of the series, because this is my favorite game in the series. Alright, mini boss time. Oh, good hits. I did not get my ring. Tails is so helpful here. The whole like idea of having this other character kind of follow along with you. We get the one cycle, great. Also, you can do this, which is fun. Sometimes you get little goodies like that. Yeah, the whole idea they kind of came up with in Sonic 2 to have this other character follow behind you is also just kind of like another innovative thing about the Sonic games, I feel. And it gave kind of like... I mean, it was like the little sibling mode, and that's how I was with my brother when we played these games as kids. Like, I would like be Tails and just follow along. So it kind of did that before like Nintendo ever really did that. Comes this music, it's so good. In the original Sonic 3, there's a spring up there that bounces you backward, which is really mean, and they removed it. I'm pretty sure. I think I remember them doing that. So good. This level is so fun. Like, this is one of the funnest levels in the whole series. Oh, I hate when that happens. Just making a level about water slides is such a good idea in a Sonic game. Okay, I think there's a ring over here. No? Thought there was. Maybe it's down here? No. Oh well. Alright, well we gotta deal with these now. Appreciate the very purple background though. Also, if I get high enough in the level, there's a weird Easter egg in this level with its like little Sonic statues up on the ceiling. I always when I was like a kid, like how he looks like 3D when he rotates was always like so cool to me. Oops. I don't think I've ever in my life like fallen down in these sections. Like I don't even know if you die or if there's like another path down there. I just never go that way. Yeah, there's a life over here. So now I just remember all this stuff. It's been like several years since I played through this. Not sure where the rings are here. This one here, this is what I was thinking of. Yeah, so there is one. Hi Chloe, good morning. Good to see you, hope you're doing well today. I'm playing one of my favorite games ever today. This is one of my top 10 games of all time. It's actually tied as my favorite platformer with Mario 3. Kind of go back and forth between those two. So I will be gushing about this game the whole playthrough. I don't even care. So I think this is the fourth one, I think? Fourth emerald? Let's see. How has your week been going so far, Chloe? And sometimes in these, like, it can be kind of like hard to track down the spheres you're missing. Let's see. I think it's there. This is where it gets intense. Oh no, it's not good. And it gets faster too. Yeah, this is where things get. This is where I'm rusty with these. And yeah, I'll get your message in a sec. Where the heck are they? This is weird. Is it there? No. Here we go. Oh my god. Oh, so intense. Busy and exhausted. Nice. That's how it goes. I hope you get a chance to relax now. Yeah, I got a much later start tonight. I think I'm just gonna change my start time to 7:30 because I'm always late anyway. It's over there. But I had to do some extra stuff to get this game set up and working. It's definitely like a little trickier to stream this kind of retro stuff than just like plugging in my Switch, you know, and playing Hollow Knight. That was more straightforward. But this version of the game is pretty nice. Looks good. I always love these little spinny things. Oh. Just that, like, when you go forward and then it, like, rockets you back to the right, it's just really fun. There is another ring way up there. I don't think I quite managed it. Yoshi, hey, what's up? It's great to see you. Hope you're doing well. Oh no, that's bad. The song is so good. It's so good. This is probably the slowest I've ever played this level. Tails is dying again. We are playing the classics. Yeah, it's Sonic month. Sonic's 35th anniversary is in 2 weeks or so, June 23rd, at least in North America. It's the slow path. Okay. Man, it's rough if you fall down here. I don't think this has like ever happened. There's life. Alright. Yeah, so I think there's another ring up here. Yeah, I get you. If I was Tails, I could fly up there. Oh well. Yeah, they always do something for every, like, for 10 years, 15 years. Sonic, like, never misses an anniversary. It's not like Nintendo where it's like sometimes they just kind of... Like, here's a Game & Watch for Zelda for, like, its 30th anniversary. And then sometimes they do, like, a huge, like, concert celebration or something. So yeah, I was saying yesterday when I played Sonic 2, like, I feel like each game evolves the boss fights a little more. Like, they're very simplistic in Sonic 1. And then they're like a little more complex in Sonic 2, but most of them you can kind of just like bounce on over and over again and win. And this game I feel like strikes like the perfect balance where like they're a little bit of a challenge and all of them are kind of like this kind of creative idea. Like this one, you gotta use these to propel yourself up. There we go. But they're not like over complicated that way they get in some of the later Sonic games, like Sonic Superstars, where they can just kind of take forever to defeat. Yeah, the Donkey Kong DLC. Yeah, that's that where he's just like wearing Mario's hat and stuff. It's kind of cute, but that stuff never really super does it for me. I kind of just like each game to kind of be its own thing. When they just added like Mario costumes to a different game, I just think it's kind of like cheesy. I don't know, or like cheap. I didn't play Bonanza. I don't have a Switch 2 as of yet. The game, of course, that will get me to buy one is the next big Zelda game, most likely. But I gotta wait and see like what they're doing with it. I get a sip of water. Oh, you got a ton of stuff to do, Chloe? Yeah, no problem. Alright, have a great night. It's great to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, so I saw him play Bonanza. That's kind of like the one game I'm like really interested in. That and Xenoblade Genesis now and the Ocarina of Time remake, which I definitely need to see more of. Yeah, exactly. Link has a different outfit. That's interesting. This is always fun, just bouncing off these. I love that. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed they didn't show more, but it's the kind of thing where like I had to keep in mind that that's really just because of the leaks. It was meant to be a surprise, and obviously they didn't intend on it being leaked, so it was just kind of like it was meant to be like a one last thing surprise, but the leaks kind of took that away, unfortunately. But yeah, I still haven't seen like anything from Bonanza. I want to like avoid spoilers because Mario Odyssey is like one of my favorite games ever. So anything that team worked on, I'm interested in. One of these. I love doing this little bounce. In the second act, these kind of like I always think of them as yo-yos because that's kind of what they look like in the second act. Yeah, so my guess is they're waiting to promote it alongside the movie. I think probably around like September or around then. I think we're gonna get like a teaser for the Zelda movie, and then they're gonna follow that up with like a big blowout for Ocarina of Time. I think what they're trying to do with like Ocarina of Time and Star Fox and all this stuff, they're trying to like rebuild this stuff for a new generation, and doing that alongside the movie is like the movies is like their grand plan to like, you know, promote all their brands more and everything, for like a younger generation. And I also think the movie is probably going to take a lot from Ocarina of Time, so they need to like refresh, like reintroduce that game to like a younger generation. I think I just screwed up. Nope, we got it. I love the aesthetic of this one, like the blue. It's another reason why these are like some of my favorite special stages, just the way they look. Okay, I just remember what the strategy for this is, and I already screwed it up. Let's see. You love all the Sonic ones? I don't. I was kind of talking about that when I was playing Sonic 2 the other day. I would say my favorites are these ones and the ones in Mania. I was never good at the Sonic 1 or Sonic 2 ones. I've like tried to do them, but I just think they kind of get like really brutal as they go on. For whatever reason, these ones just always clicked with me. But one day maybe I will like try to like genuinely do like a genuine attempt to do them all in Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. I think we got it. Oh, yeah, that's in this game actually. Yeah, the Gumball Machine. Yeah. Yeah, that one is funny. But yeah, I think in the original games, you know, they're still all solid. I'm more thinking of like in the Sonic Advance games. I don't know if you ever played those. They get pretty... It's like really hard to unlock them, and I could never like just figure out how to do the one in like Sonic Advance 1. You're on like a snowboard and you're like in space, and it's just kind of weird and hard to control. You don't like that Nintendo cares so much about movies? Yeah, I'm mixed on it. Like, I liked the first Mario movie. I thought it at least had a bit more substance than the Galaxy one. I still had fun with both, but the main thing for me is, like, I don't care that much they're doing movies. I more just kind of would not... I'd prefer the movies not affect their game development side of things, and I do kind of feel like that's maybe what's happening now with Star Fox and the Ocarina of Time remake. I feel like an Ocarina of Time remake being greenlit is kind of like unlike Aonuma. Like he usually likes to like push boundaries and do new things. And the remakes he does are usually for like a specific reason, I feel. So I don't know, it feels like they're chasing trends, because like there's the Final Fantasy remake, Final Fantasy VII remake, and remakes are just so hot right now, and they want to get in on that. And also to like tie in and promote the movie, which, you know, they're a business, but it still just feels a little icky to me. I don't know. Yeah, re-releasing Mario Galaxy was part of that too, for sure. Which is good, if it wasn't so expensive, of course. I think this is already 7. I think I might be at 7 already. I might have like 2 more. Okay, this one gets a little tricky. How do you do this again? Oh boy, I messed up. I think I messed up. Oh, we got it. Cool. Yeah, you just do that. They're all like, what I like about these ones is they're like a little puzzle. I guess you could say that about the other ones, but I don't know. It feels more the case in this one. I don't know. For whatever reason, they just click with me. Though I do understand some people probably get like motion sick playing these because like the jerking camera like that might be a little rough for some people, which I get. Okay. Oh, this one is. Oh, this is not good. Oh. Okay. I think I'm almost there. Okay, we got it. You think them remaking Ocarina right now is because they don't know where to take the new Zelda games? The open world games made the series popular, but people seen them. Yeah, and it's tough to say because I think that's kind of like the vocal opinion you hear kind of in like game spaces, right? Like the game discourse and like gamer spaces and so on. But those games also like blew every other Zelda game out of the water in terms of sales. Like Breath of the Wild is upwards of like 30 million copies or something at this point, maybe. And Tears might have not sold quite as well, but it's still sold super well. So I think they like got a bunch of new people into the series who just kind of love those games as kind of like relax and chill games and just like hang out and find stuff and don't care so much about the stuff that a lot of classic fans are upset about, like how much the whole dungeon aspect is altered. So it's kind of tough to say to me if you actually looked at like the overall consensus on them, what it would look like. But I do think at the very least, I think you're right in the sense that they are probably part of it is they're aware of those opinions and they do want to kind of appease them. And I think remaking Ocarina is like very much a part of that for sure. Because that is like the beloved classic Zelda game, so. I think Echoes of Wisdom was kind of an attempt at that too. Because that game is kind of like more nostalgia focused and kind of has a lot of classic elements as well. Even if the core like gameplay is quite different, and I actually think Echoes of Wisdom, I think the dungeons are not good in that. I think they're like arguably even worse than the ones in the open world games. With a few exceptions. There's a couple really cool ones in it. But I did love the overworld exploration in Echoes of Wisdom a lot. I think, so yeah, I've been thinking that. Originally I thought it was going to be 1-to-1, because that's what Nintendo tends to do with like their really beloved games. It's usually stuff like Majora's Mask that they like Ocarina of Time 3D was pretty 1-to-1. They were like afraid to mess with it too much. Whereas Majora, it was like Aonuma saw all these flaws in his old work, I think, and kind of didn't view it as sacredly, like wanted to change more and correct more, so to speak. But and Star Fox 64 looks very, very like 1-to-1. But I'm starting to think they might actually make some more substantial changes. Because I think, like I said, I think part of it is they want to like compete with let's see what this is. Maybe it's the Gumball one. It is the Gumball one, sorry Yoshi. So yeah, this is the one you were talking about. Yeah. We'll get out of there. So yeah, I think they see Final Fantasy VII and like how much hype that's getting, and I think they want to like compete with that. They're like, hey, we're Nintendo, like why? And like Final Fantasy VII and Ocarina of Time were kind of rivals back in the 90s. They came out around the same time. Not like exactly, I think, but they're like, hey, we have like this really beloved masterpiece from that time period. Like, why aren't we getting in on that? Like, we're Nintendo. Like, you know, we're the best. I'm running out of time. So I think they might be a little more ambitious. And like I said, Aonuma likes to push the envelope. So like if like there was any kind of like corporate hand in this, like, hey, like, what about making an Ocarina of Time remake? And Aonuma was like, no, I want to do something new. But like, if I'm going to do it though, like I have to do something different with it. I could see that happening. So I kind of want to see them do new stuff with it at this point, because I am a little remake fatigued, and Ocarina has a lot of versions out there already. So I wouldn't be too opposed to them taking some risks with it. So here's the yo-yos. I love this mechanic. Also, the background here is so gorgeous. Like those ruins, like the pixel art is so good. And yeah, like I was saying earlier in this playthrough, so like you start at the edge of Angel Island, you go into the jungle, and then you go down in like the underground ruins, and then you kind of like flush out of them and kind of like more the interior of the island, where you see like all the Echidna ruins in the background. So it's really taking you on like this full adventure through this one like specific environment, and that's part of what makes this game like so special compared to the previous two, which also took place on like a specific location, but it didn't always feel like that. Especially in Sonic 2, the zones are kind of more disjointed. So yeah, this is when Sonic, it really started to feel like you were a part of like Sonic's worlds, and like especially as a kid, it really like it was just like really like evoked my imagination a lot. Those things are scary. Man. And the game, it just has so many fun gimmicks, like just fun little things to interact with too. And then all the power-ups are like momentum based, like the fire, I was gonna say fire flower, the fire shield gives you an air dash. The water bubble, you can like bounce a ton. And the lightning shield gives you like a double jump. So it all like feeds into kind of like the speedy momentum based gameplay in a fun way. I think this is the last one. Kind of burned through these. Then I just have to avoid turning into supersonic too much, because it drowns out like the cool music in the levels. What? Oh, that was done. That was the last one. Alright, that's fine. We got plenty of opportunities to still get it. Yeah, the levels are significantly bigger. And that's kind of a point of contention for some people. Like I've heard, that's one of the reasons some people prefer Sonic 2, because it's a little more straightforward. Am I going backwards? Yeah. Because levels like this one actually can get a little labyrinthine with like the spinning top puzzles and stuff like that, but I still think it's never... The path forward is still usually always more or less clear. I don't think it ever quite get as bad as like, I don't know, I mean like in Labyrinth Zone, or like the end of Sonic 1, like that final Scrap Brain act in Labyrinth Zone where I kept getting turned around, like stuff like that. I think Oil Ocean in Sonic 2 kind of has that issue too, but yeah, I just love how ambitious the game is, and I think like the levels being so huge and having just a ton of different secret paths, a lot of them I've never even seen probably to this day, even though I replayed this game so many times. It makes it feel like the game always still has like secrets left to uncover. And that's kind of how I feel about Super Mario Bros. 3 as well. That's part of why that's my favorite Mario game. So I love that kind of thing. Is there a secret there? No. Oops. Yeah, I feel like most of the time you can just run forward. Or you can kind of choose to explore more. But yeah, this one's definitely my favorite. This is one of my top 10 games ever. This and Mario 3 are pretty much tied as my favorite platformer, period. And Sonic 2 is definitely my second favorite. And for a while, I would consider that my favorite, but... because that's probably like the most nostalgic one to me. It's the one I played the most as a kid. But... yeah, I just like playing this game and replaying it over the years. It just... I think just as I got older, I appreciated how ambitious it is, and just how many cool things it does with like its little storytelling, like set-piece moments and all that stuff. Also, I just think the level design is the best of the classic ones. They kind of just like nailed like everything they were trying to do with the previous two, in my opinion. Like it's still like you're always like quickly moving forward, and like there's just a really fun balance of the platforming and the sections that just kind of let Sonic just let him rip, you know, just let him just fly forward through like this really fun like twisty section. And I think Sonic 2 does that pretty well, but this game just does it even better. Oh, I have opinions on Sonic CD. I have a lot of opinions on that game. It's not my favorite. I don't hate it. It kind of has grown on me over the years, but when I first played that, like it was... I always consider that like the most overhyped game for me I've ever played. Because like for years I would just kind of... I would see it in like EGM and stuff. Like the magazine is like the best 2D Sonic, and like I'd see like top 10 lists of 2D Sonics, and it would always be like ranked as like #1, and it was always like kind of treated as this legendary like mystical 2D Sonic that you never played but is actually the best, and it has like this cool time travel element. And then I played it and I finished it in like 40 minutes, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Games can be short and still be cool, but I got to the, like, I assume you've played it, and like I got to the end of it, and like the final boss was just like so underwhelming and boring. And I just was like, I cannot believe this is Sonic CD. I can't believe this is like the game that has been hyped up all these years. This boss is really cool. This is another one of those moments when you like, it's a nice little like bonding moment for Sonic and Tails. Sonic 2 had a lot of that towards the end of the game. But here it really shows like how Sonic needs Tails and how they team up and everything. This game has so many cool like set pieces like this. It's so good. What? Oh, I had 0 rings. Hey IDK, what's up? Welcome in. Hope you're doing well today. So you feel the same way, Yoshi. You never owned a Sega CD. You had to hear about it for years until emulators. I played it on the GameCube Gems collection for the first time. Yeah, Wacky Workbench. The level... Yeah, the Wacky Workbench is that level. Yeah, that level is... It's one of the strangest and least fun levels in the series, in my opinion. Yeah, it's... and that's the thing about Sonic CD. So I was going to say that after that initial playthrough, I've replayed it a lot. I did, like, explore the levels. I found, like, all the robot generators. I played it both ways. I played it just running through it. I played it fully exploring it. I I've really tried to give the game a chance, and it grew on me. Like, I think it has... The soundtrack is great. I like both soundtracks, the Japanese and the US one. Especially the Japanese one, though. And I appreciate... It has a lot of weird, inventive, unconventional ideas. And I always appreciate that in a game. And just the overall, like, art direction and vibe of it is... It's cool. Like... I don't like it as much as these games because the world feels more surreal. It doesn't feel as much as like a connected, immersive world like Angel Island does in this game. But it still has a vibe to it, and the cutscenes, like the animated cutscenes, are super cool. But yeah, I think you kind of like nailed it, Yoshi. It's just the level design. I think if you just run straight through the levels in that game, they kind of feel empty and like a little too straightforward and boring. They're just not like super engaging to me. And I think if you fully explore them, they're more interesting, but I just think activating the time travel is just a bit too much of a pain. It's just like the time travel mechanic's cool, but it's just really difficult to actually like interact with it. Which I get is kind of the puzzle, that's kind of the point, but I just wish it wasn't quite so annoying to do it. To actually activate the time travel. And yeah, just overall, I just don't find the levels to be interesting, like, thematically, as the Genesis games. Alright, go to the chat, I gotta pay attention. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel, like a game made by the B team. And that's kind of what it was, because it was developed at the same time as Sonic 2 was. Sonic 2 was developed in the West. It was like a US-based like branch of Sonic Team, I think. I'd have to double-check the specifics. And then Sonic CD, yeah, it was Yuji Naka, I think, was in the West, developed Sonic 2, and led that game's development. I gotta stop getting hit at the start there. And then Sonic CD was developed by Naoto Oshima, who was like Sonic's lead character designer. And they have a lot of interesting overlap. Like they both... Sonic 2 originally was going to have time travel as well. And they both kind of came up with their own version of Metal Sonic. And a lot of like... coincidentally, like similar ideas between the two games. I gotta focus and do this. So the boss music is so good. Damn. There we go. Got him. Yeah, I think Sonic 3 and K has my favorite soundtrack too. It's hard to pick because they're all great, but all the classics. Now the sky darkens, and then we fly to the weirdest level. So this is the only level in the game that it feels so out of place. Like, it's just like, what is this even doing on Angel Island? And apparently, like, Eggman built it to entertain himself or something. And he somehow did that in the span of him crashing here right after Sonic 2. And I don't know. But they clearly just wanted to have the fun, gimmicky, like, carnival casino level. And I do like its color scheme a lot. Like all the red in the city in the background and stuff. I kind of often think of this level when I think of Sonic 3. And kind of like what I was saying when I played Sonic 2 yesterday. If you look at like a... if you took a thumbnail from every level in this game and made like a mosaic out of them, like every level has like its own unique like color scheme going on, and that's something like all the classic Sonics have in common that I always loved. And yeah, I'll bring up, I'll probably talk about the Michael Jackson thing. Well, I was gonna talk about it in Ice Cap, but yeah, obviously, allegedly, Michael Jackson worked on the music for this game. And this was one of the songs he supposedly worked on. And it was this launch base and Ice Cap were the three that were removed from Sonic Origins. And replaced with like the beta tracks, which are okay, but they're not great in my opinion. I also always wondered what this is supposed to be. It looks like it's like melting like raspberry jam or something. Then you can do this. Yeah, it's confirmed pretty much. Like he definitely did. I just kind of. It's one of those things where it's like I don't know if to date Sega has ever come out and like fully confirmed it, but yeah, it's like all but fully confirmed as far as I know. Actually, I think on Twitter, Yuji Naka at one point kind of just said like, yeah, it's true. And like he wasn't supposed to. Yuji Naka being like, you know, one of the co-creators of Sonic who is in prison maybe? Or I don't know. I think he's like not actually in prison. I know he got into trouble, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him these days. Alright, so this is the last emerald, I think. I feel like this always happens in the last one. I like can't find where the spheres are. There they are. Okay. Alright, I think this is the last group. Hell yeah. Alright, supersonic time. You're also not sure if he's in prison or not. Yeah, it's kind of like the meme, like everyone says that, but I think he's like on probation or something. I don't really know the full story. That's weird. I feel like they're supposed to give you a little chime when you unlock Supersonic, but it was kind of just quiet. So now we can drown out this. I do think this is the worst song in the game. It's just a little too typical circusy. It's not. None of the music's bad. Like Sonic rarely has bad music, but it's still like my least favorite song. I gotta lose this shield. I'm gonna try to keep Supersonic in check because I don't like that it. I usually don't like that it gets rid of the music, but I will get rid of the music here because I'm just not a huge fan of it in this level. Is it this way? I gotta lose this fire shield though. Here we go. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. There we go. Supersonic. So yeah, like I love his animation. Like it's like Sonic is already so cool, and then I love how they change like all his animations to like make him that much cooler. So yeah, Knuckles knocked all the emeralds out of us, and now we just already got him back, and we're gonna go wreck his shit. Not really, not until like way later in the game. Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, Yoshi. That's why it's... They improved it in Mania. They gave it more of like a full-fledged song. And you kind of have a little more control around when you transform. But yeah, the soundtrack's so good, I just don't... I'd rather like have the music than Supersonic. This is ironic. This is like the one boss Supersonic can't actually harm. But yeah, I just think when I play like Sonic 2, I was talking about this. Part of what I love about and kind of respect about the Sonic series, at least back in the day, is it was just so ambitious, and the developers had so many ideas, and they were like, we have this fast momentum-based character, like, what if we just gave you this like power-up that just makes him like ultra fast, even if it kind of breaks the game sometimes, and like things are more likely to glitch out. And they were just like, yeah, why not? It's fun. Just do it. I love that kind of mentality. Yeah, just trying out things, you know. I feel like up through the Dreamcast era, at least, it was very much that kind of energy. I always liked how these underwater sections look. The part's kind of weird. Yeah, I love, and this was a thing in Sonic 2 as well, like, just how detailed the backgrounds are. Like, any one of these backgrounds, you can just, like, make, like, a wallpaper or something. Like, they're just so fun to look at. Right, Tails kind of can screw up some of these gimmicks. Which, when I get to the infamous barrel puzzle near the end of the level, is, like, the worst example of that. Also, the screen is kind of glitching out there. I don't know what... Might be this port of the game, I'm not sure. Yeah, and I think, like, this sprite when, like, you're turning was, like... That, like, blew me away as a kid, because it's, like, it's 3D. Like, you can actually see, like, his full, like, spines in the back and everything. I always thought that was really cool. So yeah, these barrels, you just... What? What the heck? What just happened? Oh no. Can I get out of here? I think... I don't know what happened there. Like, the enemy hit me and I, like, clipped through the barrel. Yeah, that was strange. That's never happened. This happened during Sonic 2. I fell off, like, the ship in, Wing Fortress, and I like found like this secret area I've never found in the game before. So I'm like discovering all these new things in these games, streaming them. But yeah, I was saying you just hold up and down when you're on those barrels, and that's how they work, but it's not clear that's what you have to do at all. So like a bunch of kids got stuck on this back in the day. Probably adults that play this nowadays too. And there's a section near the end of the level where it like locks you into a room, and what is going on here? What? I can only guess it's this port of the game. Tails, save me. Yeah, so I'm playing this actually on the original Wii Virtual Console, believe it or not. I tried hooking it up via like original hardware, because I do have like a Genesis with the original cartridge and everything, but I was having sound issues and stuff, so... And the PS3 collection I used for Sonic 1 and 2, it doesn't have the connected Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it just has the two separate, like, standalone Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles halves of it. So this was kind of the next best option I owned. And it's a pretty good... It's a pretty good port until this part. And yeah, the new versions changed the music, and that's part of why I did want to stick with the original. Like, the Origins collection does that. Mainly for Ice Cap, because that's like one of my favorite songs in the series. Alright, here's Knuckles. This part, it's the one part when when there's like a Knuckles moment. It's pushing the air there. That's funny. Where it's just like an invisible barrier. Like there's no actual context for why Sonic just can't go and like, I don't know, just jump on him or whatever. He kind of just like lets him turn out the power. Though I guess maybe like Sonic doesn't really know what Knuckles is about to do, and like maybe what we're not seeing is Sonic is like trying to just talk it out with him and Knuckles isn't listening or something. He could just be in awe of Knuckles, in awe of his buffness, in awe of his proclivity to not chuckle. Yeah, so I think this act in particular is probably my least favorite part of this game. It's just kind of slow. It's kind of like back and forth, kind of meandering. And I don't think the music is that good. So it's not a perfect game. No game is. But by and large, like, I love like the grand majority of the zones in this game. I think Sandopolis is the only other one that kind of drags a bit, but I still think that level is kind of cool. But now it's fun that we're super. So yeah, if you do this, it gets ridiculous. Sorry. Now it gets funner though. It's kind of that first half of it. And here it is. So here's the part where so many kids got stuck on this back in the day. You just press up and down and that's all you do, but like I thought you needed to like jump up and down, and then like sometimes Tails jumps on it and he like messes it up. It's just a mess. And I think it was either Yuji Naka or some other designer like apologized for it eventually, I think. I think we just go straight. What's up here? Alright, I think we're at the boss. This part's just fun. I love when Sonic games, they just do a little moment like that, just because it's fun. And some people kind of like criticize that, like, oh, you're not even like inputting any buttons and there's no actual gameplay. And I think it's okay for a game to just have a little moment that's just fun. You know, it's just like visually this like fun little set piece. Now we're just gonna wreck this boss. Oh, he's off screen, that's funny. Is this the Wii version glitching out again? Okay, we're good. Alright, I can't wait for this next level. It's one of my favorites in the series. And you can already see we're like in the mountains, which I like that. Robotnik built this place in the mountains, and now, yeah. This intro is so good. Like the background, like the colors. This is just, it's just so peak. This is when Sonic just became the coolest thing ever. Is this level. Oh, don't turn super. Don't ruin it. Gotta be careful not to go super here. Yeah, and like especially like back in the 90s, like snowboards were the coolest thing ever. And putting Sonic on a snowboard was like genius. And the way his blue just like matches the level too. It's so good. It's such a fun level too. I love the background and like this ice cavern too. Like the art direction is so unique to me. Like nothing else except like other games that like Sonic Team worked on, kind of like Ristar I'm thinking of, kind of had this like aesthetic. I don't know. Like it just looks so unique, like so much. Like it's an ice level. There's a lot of ice levels in video games, but they really give it like this really special art direction that pops. I feel like I can like reach back and like touch those crystals. They have like this kind of like three-dimensional nature to them that pops. I'm trying really careful not to go supersonic. So I'm not doing like the what's it called? The insta-shield? The little insta-shield move. But yeah, that intro when you're on the snowboard, that's kind of what I was talking about with that section in Carnival Night before. Where I think it's okay to just have these like cool sections for the sake of cool. You know, just like these cool little set-piece moments. And it's like, I think this game is like the pinnacle of the classic Sonic level design. And it's when Sonic started to have those more like cool set-piece moments, which would become a huge thing in the 3D games. And this game is also when Sonic started to like really develop more of like its own universe and kind of have like more like a lot more like storytelling aspects going on, which eventually would kind of like blossom into like the Archie comics and now like the IDW comics and like the later 3D games that had a lot of storytelling stuff going on. I think this game is like when Sonic just really kind of came into its own and like all those elements kind of like converged. And then you go outside of the cave and like the whole environment changes. It's so good. And again, Sonic 1 and 2 didn't do that. Like the zones always had the same aesthetics. And I think that's part of what makes this game so next level and like puts it above those ones for me. Also, I love this background too with the ice flows. Got him. And this little move, the insta-shield, is so useful. You can kind of like just get that extra bit of height. The background looks so nice. Just the blues, like I was saying, like the different color schemes for each level. It's so great. Song, it's like a little slower. It's so good. These are a fun gimmick. So if you go the low route, you kind of go back down into the ice cave, and it's all like flooded, and it's a lot slower. Usually the top routes are like the faster ones. This is such a fun, like fast, breezy level. Act 2. They're just like, let's just do all the loops. Just all the loops. And there's those little burrowing underground moments, like in Hilltop. Oh, messed that up. Those are like the Robotnik monitors that hurt you if you open them. And so the ice cap themes, this is another one that supposedly Michael Jackson was involved in. And it's based on a song called Hard Times, which I know a lot of people know about these days, but if you have never heard of that, I recommend looking it up, like Googling it, and comparing the two, because they're pretty much the same song. It's pretty funny. Like the melody is pretty identical. Tails is... Tails, you are ruining my day, Tails. Okay. Oh, what happened there? I think there's like a hidden ring. Oh yeah, this part's fun. Just a bunch of rings. Yeah, I think another reason I love this game is I think the levels have like a nice mix between like the bigger, more kind of puzzly or mazy levels like Marble Garden, and then there's some ones like this. They're just more of like the traditional, like fast-paced ones. So I think there's like a good balance between those two throughout the game. I was gonna go super, but I immediately lost my rings. Got him. So yeah, like it's like, I feel like that boss is like harder than most of the bosses in Sonic 2, even if it's still pretty simplistic. And I just kind of prefer it that way, you know, just like a little tricky, but not like super time consuming and we have to like wait around for them to attack you like in Sonic Superstars. That transition is kind of weird. It's like we were at a snowy mountain and now we're just here. Some of them they fudge a little, but that's okay. So, and this is the other song that was replaced in Sonic Origins, but I absolutely love this level. I think it's one of those examples where, like I was talking about in when I played Sonic 2, how Sonic was just... It used to be known for like having these really original and unique level themings, not just like the typical like lava world and all that. And it has, you know, those, like obviously Ice Cap is like a snow level, but then it has stuff like this where it's like this kind of like, it's almost like inspired by like the Kremlin, right? And like Moscow, and like it's supposed to be like Robotnik space. And there's like that, you can see the Death Egg ship being like repaired in the background. And that's like what Robotnik has been doing this whole time we've been on this adventure in the game. And then as the level goes on, like the second act takes place in that background area as you get closer to the ship. And I think that's like the coolest stuff ever. It's just, again, why I love this game so much. It really feels like you're on this adventure, like you're part of a story instead of just like going level to level. Can we? Yeah, we can do that. Cool. So the music is just so funky. Go, 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 go. Another like weird fun gimmick with these little saucers that flip you around. They just had like so many weird ideas. And they're like, let's just do them all. I love that. It's just like how it flows over into that. It's fun. I just want to roll. I don't even know if this is the right way, but it's just fun to do. I just love it. Like, it's just fun to like let the level take you. That's why I just think this has the best level design. Like, it's just... It just combines like these really fun speedy parts with like really fun platforming. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh well. And then Mania arguably kind of like perfected it even more, but I think they're both great. Did I just go backwards? I think I did. Yeah, I think I remember that. I feel like this happens to me every time I play this game. You need to like, you need to like go across that gap up there. You can't fall down. So yeah, that's kind of like, that's something, it happens in like Oil Ocean Zone too. That is like a slight criticism of sometimes the levels can like flip you back like that, and it's not exactly kind of clear what happened. But I think it's just kind of like part of how hard it is to design like levels like this, like these really speedy levels where you're like zipping around really fast, mixed with the platforming, and kind of making it all flow together well, and making it so like you don't get lost and kind of always kind of end up on the right path. It's just a hard balancing act. And those are funny. They're like little alarms, and they just summon a single little bird enemy. But it's meant to be like you're breaking into Robotnik's base, so it's like sounding the alarm. This part's fun. Okay, so he's like carrying some kind of weird box. Over here, and you see Knuckles. At this point, like, the whole story with Robotnik tricking Knuckles, it's like, the fact Knuckles didn't raise an eyebrow at Robotnik not only lighting the island on fire, but also, like, building this huge, like, robotic base. I think that raised a couple red flags, but maybe he just convinced that it's all for the good of the world, and he's just trying to stop the wicked Sonic. So yeah, it's just a nice little setup to the boss. Like, Robotnik was kind of carrying this boss around in a crate to deposit in here to take out Sonic. Okay. Another purple background. A lot of purple in these early Sonic games. So now we're like in that kind of scaffolding that was like beside the Death Egg in the background. And I think in the back there you can kind of see maybe like Sandopolis, which is like a later level. Or maybe like cliffs separating like this area from where Sandopolis is. That's just kind of like a theory. I don't think that's, maybe not intentional, but yeah, this is one of my favorites. The theming is just so unique, and the music's great, and it's super fast, and like the end of it is really cool. It's like really like climactic, because this is where like the standalone Sonic 3 ended, but it was always, no, I didn't want to do that. I don't want to drown out the music. But it was always meant to be like the halfway point. See, Supersonic glitches out the game sometimes. Oh, that just blocks you from doing that. The only thing with Supersonic is, yeah, the music. It's just, I know like mods and stuff later on, there's like mods of the game where you can like have it not replace the music, or adding like different music. That's cool. You like go inside the tube. That's a really cool kind of like twist on that kind of classic Sonic trope. Like in Chemical Plant Zone, they had you going through the tubes, and now they made a level like made out of the tubes that you actually run on, and then also go inside them. music. It's just, it's like a 3-note loop. Uh, yeah. It's just a shame. Because the soundtrack is so good, and you just don't want to get rid of it. What the heck just happened? Also, I can still drown here. I might be in trouble. I think Supersonic is like breaking the game. Well, you get to hear this horrifying music. Oh my god. We'll get it. We got it. Alright, yep. I just did that to keep you on your toes, of course. That happened in Sonic 1 too. At like the last second, I got out of the water. And it's kind of like the equivalent. I was thinking it's like the equivalent of like in Majora's Mask when you wait till like the last second to rewind time. Yep, water is always Sonic's one. I think Hypersonic maybe can't drown. This will make this boss easy. So in the original, and this moment's so cool. So you defeat Robotnik and then you steal his little Eggmobile. And now we're like underneath the Death Egg. This is so funny, he just punches you. And then Knuckles died. It got burned up in the jet rocket behind him there. So yeah, we're seeing like the Death Egg that you destroy at the end of Sonic 2 that crashed on the island at the start of this game. Robotnik is now finished repairing it and is lifting it off again, so Sonic's like racing to stop him from doing it. Yep, Knuckles never to be seen again. And this was the conclusion of the like standalone Sonic 3, but it's only the halfway point of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And after this boss, there was originally like the Big Arm boss in Sonic 3, which is like a really cool boss fight. And it's kind of a shame they took it out, but they do re-add it in Knuckles' campaign in this, but they took it out just because it's like a balancing thing. They didn't want like a super hard boss in the middle of the game. It doesn't really make sense anymore. That's why I think they took it out anyway. And I guess that just caused a chain reaction explosion. Don't think about it too hard. And it at least kind of incapacitated the Death Egg's launch sequence. So there it is, plummeting back down to Angel Island. Sonic and Tails are just like, there it goes. And then this was the first level of Sonic and Knuckles, like the standalone, but it's like the halfway point. Yeah, it's just another cool little, again, I've been calling them kind of like set piece moments, but it's like a cutscene really. Again, the game just has like all these cool little silent storytelling things going on. But it's the perfect spot to take a quick break, so I'll be back in about 5 minutes. And thanks for hanging out. But yeah, I'm having a blast revisiting this so far. Yeah, it's been like a few years since I played through these games, and they're so fun. I know, it's almost like we entered a new video game. But yeah, alright, I'll be right back. Okay, Yoshi, yeah, no worries. Yeah, I just saw your message. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. It was great to see you. Yeah, have a great night. Okay, I'm back. I wish I could leave it on pause. There's music during the break, but I'd run out of time. Maybe at some point I'll have to make like a dedicated break screen. So yeah, the mushrooms. Yeah, another little like just really fun little element to kind of interact with. There's the little like bouncy like womp sound. And then we got this little cutscene. Knuckles just being so sneaky. No one can see you, Knuckles, don't worry. And Knuckles is just so lovable, like he's a cool guy, but he's just, you know, kind of gullible, and he's doing his best. So here we have a glittering, like, different kind of ring, and this is such a cool moment. Yeah, like, already the game is, like, about as long as the first two, and we're only halfway. It's just, like, this huge adventure, and now it's like, what is even going on? This music. It's so good. It sets such a mood. And I love how it just like transports you to this mysterious place. Like, what was Knuckles doing in here? And like, it's just all a mystery. Like, if you've never played this, especially if you're like a kid, it's just like, what is this giant emerald in the middle? And like what is even going on? It's just like that sense of mystique the game kind of has that I mentioned at the start of the stream. And now we get into the... Already off to a great start. I hope you still get the final level even if you go in there, because you kind of like lose the emeralds. I hope it still counts. I'm actually not sure, because I want to get like the true final boss, but yeah, those are the super emeralds. So there's 7 more emeralds, and the stages are a lot harder. And I've definitely done it before, but I am like rusty, so I'm gonna try to do it, but we'll see. I also like don't know the Sonic and Knuckles levels. Like I never really know where the rings are hidden as well as the first half, so that can be kind of tricky. I kind of gotta be a bit more careful and like look for the hidden rings, because once you get past Sandopolis, it gets like really hard. Once you're past Lava Reef, basically, you kind of just... I think you like literally can't... You can't get the emeralds anymore. So yeah, this is another like fun, speedy level. Again, the levels are kind of... they're mixed between like these kind of... almost like... kind of like Emerald Hill in the Sonic 2 style, like conventional... speedy levels with more like I don't know, I don't really know how to put it, kind of more not puzzly, but kind of like Launch Base was a bit more like there's a bit more like back and forth and kind of like little puzzles to solve and stuff like that. There's kind of like different kinds of levels throughout the game, basically. But that was always kind of true, even with like Sonic 1 and stuff. Like there's a big difference between like Green Hill and like Labyrinth Zone. Alright, I think there might be a ring up here. Nope. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think I gotta backtrack a little bit. Is there one? I know there's one next to one of those pulleys. I don't know. I'll just keep going forward. I don't want to get too hung up on it. Again, I'll try to get them, but if I don't... I just hope I still unlock Doomsday Zone at the end. So just kind of like fun little gimmick. Yeah, we definitely missed some there. So again, like I said this when I played Sonic 1, you know, there's like the subtle, you know, it's not a super big thing, but there is the subtle little like environmental, you know, like aspects of these games going on. Like you're saving all your animal friends, Robotnik's kind of polluting the environment with like his machines. You kind of see more of that in the other two games, with like the polluted water at the end of like Scrap Brain and in a chemical plant. And then we just have like this like, you know, logger like cutting down all these trees. It's just kind of like another, and it's one of Robotnik's machines. It's like another little aspect of that. I love how Knuckles just has like a switch attached to the wall here. Like what? And now you start going through like the different seasons in this zone, which is a really cool idea. Go even higher. That sound is so fun, the bwomp. Alright, here, this has gotta be one, right? Okay. Alright, let's try to actually do this now. So yeah, these ones, I gotta remember how to do these. Because like the original Emerald ones they're kind of breezy. But this is when like they really start becoming these kind of like weird like puzzles you need to figure out. This one's not too bad though. Oh, you know what? I could be messing this up. I could be changing those into rings, I think. Yeah, by doing that. Hopefully I can still get it. I might not be able to. Crap. I might have messed this up. Go through here. Okay. 26 still. Okay. It gets so intense when it starts going fast. Oh, they're right there. Oh, damn. Yeah, so the next time I gotta make sure I clear them out first. I gotta try to... Is there one down here? It's been a long time since I played through this, so I used to kind of know where they all are. This is fun. Nope. Definitely don't want AI viewers. I feel like this one right near this chicken. Here, maybe. Yeah, it's tough because like Mushroom Hill is like the best chance to get as many Super Emeralds as you can. It starts to get kind of harder to find the rings in the later levels. So I'm kind of taking it a little slower looking for them. Here we go. Okay. I think it's best to just stick with this one. I think they did it on purpose too. They wanted you to like know which one you're getting into so you can learn them because they're harder. I think that was smart. I'll do that. Oh, that's not it. There we go. They're over there. There we go. Oh. Shoot. It's 24, damn. Okay. So 2 more groups I'm missing. Oh my god. Yeah, I do get why people don't like these ones. When it starts getting really fast and the camera's kind of like really starts getting really like stuttery and stuff. Okay. Again, I just think they're like an interesting little puzzle. Alright, 1 Super Emerald down, 6 to go. And if you get all these, you can be hypersonic, of course. Which breaks the game even more. Again, the developers just didn't care. They were just like, yep, let's just go for it. Let's just go the extra mile and do this other fun thing. Alright. I think, yeah, we haven't done one of the, oh, it's this again. There's like another special stage that I haven't seen yet. I usually just ignore these when I play through this game. But I wanted to at least just check them out. Trying to like just see every aspect of the game. It's been a while since I played it. Okay, is there one in here, maybe? No, just that. Okay. So fun. I'll try to get at least one more this level. Yeah, this is the end of the level, damn. Up there, maybe? No. Not down here. Wait, I think here. Yep. This one right there. Alright, nice. I'll try to get at least one more in this zone. Because again, Mushroom Hill is like your best chance to get as many as you can. I already messed up twice, which isn't good. Oh no, not this one. This one's rough. If feel like I always screw this one up at least once. It's like the creamsicle colored one. What do you do there? I forget. Yeah. It's been too long. I got pretty good at these at one point, but yeah, it's just been too long. It's been years since I played through this. If I don't have a completed save on this version. Hopefully I think you still do unlock Doomsday. I think you just need to get the 7 original emeralds. Tails, what are you doing there? The super ones are mainly just like a bonus to get hypersonic, which is still a really cool reward. And so here's like the weather machine that's been like causing all the season changes in the zone, which is cool. Shit. This boss, like the way it's almost like it's not a very hard boss, but it's just like it almost looks like 3D, like the elements, and that was just like for the time, like it was just like a really cool like visual design. So again, it's just another example of this team just having an idea and just trying new stuff out and like all that good stuff. Just really ambitious. Sorry for hitting my mic. My god, that sound effect is... Yeah, that must be this port of the game. They messed up that sound effect. Sorry, that's grating. So here's one of the best levels in the game. So this is Flying Battery. This is the ship you see in Angel Island Zone at the very beginning of the game, dropping down like the torpedoes on Sonic. And it looks different just because Sonic 3 came first and they hadn't like finalized its design yet. But yeah, now like they actually jump onto the ship. And this is kind of like the it's kind of like Wing Fortress in Sonic 2, except it's like a full-fledged like fast-moving level, which is really cool. Like they definitely, and there's that little mouse enemy I mentioned when I was reading the manual that doesn't appear in Sonic 3, but was still in the Sonic 3 manual, which was always like really cool and mysterious to me when I was a kid anyway. So yeah, it's kind of like they remade the Wing Fortress idea, except not as like a really tense platformery level at the end of the game, but more like kind of this like just speedy, really fun level in like the midway. The music's great too. Oops. And something I forgot to talk about that is like kind of like another cool piece of trivia about this game. And actually I wrote, so a while back, I think I found like a blog post that talked about this actually, and it really got me thinking. And then I ended up doing like more of my own kind of research and stuff and like wrote my own like blog post about it. But there's a ton of imagery and like themes and things going on in this game that are incredibly reminiscent of the Studio Ghibli movie Castle in the Sky, or Laputa Castle in the Sky, depending on the region. Like the idea of like a floating island held aloft by a giant gem. A lot of the imagery, like the way this ship looks, like with the camo pattern, it looks a lot like the airship in Castle in the Sky. I know that's not like the most clear connection, but it's just kind of like another part of it. There is like this giant battleship in that game that's like attacking the island. And someone's trying to like steal the giant gem. There's kind of like a underwater like city moment in Castle in the Sky. It's like one little scene, but it's kind of like Hydrocity or Hydrocity. There's imagery like towards the end of the movie that is kind of reminiscent of like Hidden Palace Zone and how there's kind of like this kind of more almost kind of high-tech-ish like hidden like epicenter of the island where like that's where the Master Emerald is that's like holding everything aloft. There's something like that in Castle in the Sky. So much like Sonic took inspiration from like Dragon Ball Z and like Star Wars with the Death Egg, I think these developers were also like Ghibli fans and were maybe taking some inspiration from that movie. I think that's like a really cool detail. It's just a theory, but there is a lot of overlap when you start to look into it. There's even more stuff too. But I love that movie. I love Studio Ghibli, so it was really cool to like make that connection. That like something I always loved as like a kid and stuff, and throughout my life, I had this kind of like connection to a movie I kind of discovered later. I kind of watched kind of all the Ghibli movies a bit later on. This is kind of like that moment in Spring Yard. I just like doing that. Oh, I whiffed that one. It's just fun. I just love playing around with the mechanics in these games. And I love when you just fall down and it just go right into a little slope. Okay, I know for a fact there's a special stage over here. This is fun. And also just the context of like, this is kind of where they're making these egg capsules that are holding all the animals. They're all being stored on like Robotnik's ship. This is probably like, maybe after the Death Egg was wrecked in Sonic 2, he kind of like escaped in this ship or something and came to Angel Island this way. I'm going to put that one off for now because I feel like that's one of the hardest ones. What is this one? This one I don't... I think I remember one part of this one that's really tricky towards the end. When it like bounces you backwards. Okay, that one was easy. That's like a gimme. They're still a little bit tense. So you don't know quite what's coming next, but it's probably the easiest one of these. Alright, we got 2, I think, now. It's cool that they do this, like they light up and appear there instead of just appearing in like a menu. How do you get? Oh, you have to go up on that. Oops. Damn. Gotta be patient, gotta be patient. Oh, man. This is a little awkward. I think the ceiling's a little too low here. Like they should have made that a little bit higher, but it's okay. Okay. And then this goofy little boss. I like this boss. It's silly. Just another fun little idea. remember like really loving that like as a kid. It just because I actually had to like figure it out, and like when you figure it out, it's just like it felt like it just felt unique. Like I never had seen like a boss like that in the game that you need to like lure into attacking itself. It's really simple nowadays, but it's just like a cute little moment. This level, I feel like Act 2, I don't know where like any of the rings are, giant rings are in this level, I don't think. I don't know if I've ever like found them. There is like this weird hidden area in the zone where you can actually like find a giant battery or something. Like all these little, again, the levels are just so explorable. There's so many different routes. I don't know if I ever even found that area myself. I know I've like seen, I think I've seen like screenshots of it. But maybe I did at one point. Okay. These parts are always a little scary because they can crush you. Is there? I think there's a hidden path up here. Yeah, if you wait a second. Really cool secret. I do know where one of... Yeah, I know where one of them is here. You push aside like a set of spikes. It's like really weird and obtuse. That's fun. Might have missed something there. I might have missed it. Oops. Yeah, like you can get crushed there if you're not careful. Wrong way. Shit. Oh man, that's brutal. When you have like full rings and you get crushed like that, it's like the worst. Start of the zone, I didn't get a checkpoint. Oh. Well, I have another chance to find that ring. So I think I might have missed it up there. I always love when the rings are like chasing you with the shield and like they don't quite catch up right away. And in the background you can see all the kind of egg capsules. This is kind of like where they're produced, or maybe where Eggman's storing them and transporting them around to capture animals and stuff all over the place. Again, all those little bits of context and like environmental details and storytelling. It's the kind of thing that, that's brutal. It just made it feel like such a world beyond just like the game. In a way that, say, like Mario didn't quite feel so much like. Or other platformers at the time as well, perhaps. And I do think Mario would definitely always capture my imagination too. Like, it definitely has a world. But there's something more concrete about Sonic's world. Even this level, it's like a very... It's just like this almost like realistic, like man-made structure in a way. That kind of contrasts with kind of like the cartoony design of the characters. It feels like this like texture to the environments. Like it feels like you can kind of reach out and touch it, and like it feels like metallic. It's just like a really interesting visual design. But I did it again. That part's rough. That part's a bit unfair. That's like a Dimps moment. I criticize like the Dimps made Sonic games, like the later, like the Sonic Advance trilogy, particularly Sonic Advance 3 especially, and Sonic Advance 2 somewhat, and Sonic Rush and stuff. They have a ton of moments like that where they just catapult you into like a crusher or something. But sometimes these games could have those moments. Not nearly to the same extent, but... But yeah, I was just saying, I think like all those aspects that make the world feel immersive and like an actual like world these characters are inhabiting is kind of what led to all this kind of extraneous Sonic media, like the comics and everything. I think that's kind of why it led to all that stuff, or why all that stuff exists. Because the developers always seem to be kind of interested in building a world, or at least kind of like laid the building blocks for that kind of thing. It does kind of stop you when you go over the loops. You kind of have a little bit of a warning. It's really scary though. Okay, I think I died. Oh no, this is the moment. I think it's like here. I think you have to like stop. Yeah, it's like back there. No. Maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. Wait, is there something up here? Damn. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough to get the Super Emeralds because it's just you don't have as many opportunities to find the rings. You only have 4 zones to do it, as opposed to 6. Or at least 5. Are there? I'm not quite sure if it's rings in Launch Base. Big rings. I can't remember. But that, and I just don't know where they're hidden as well. So I just hope I still unlock Doomsday Zone. That's the main thing I care about. It's not the end of the world if we don't get them all. Oh, crush. And this is like another, just like in Wing Fortress, it ended with this boss, and they bring it back. Because again, this level is really kind of their attempt to develop that concept into like a full level. But it's way easier. Robotnik just kind of like blows up his own ship. He's just so desperate to kill Sonic. Doesn't even care. This is a little like that section at the end of Marble Garden. Oh no, no, no. You gotta die there at least once every playthrough. It always happens. I could, if I like had a second controller plugged in, I could like just take control of Tails at a time like this and fly up. Not sure like what this platform is supposed to be. It's like a rising platform. Do you have to jump in the middle? So this boss is, when you do Knuckles campaign, which again is like an epilogue, you fight an Egg Robo, which is like one of the little Robotnik's little robot minions. Is inside all of like the same boss machines instead of Eggman. But this is the one boss where Eggman's sprite is still here. And I think it's just like a mistake, or they couldn't remove his sprite from that boss for some reason. I don't know. I think they did fix that maybe in later versions, but it's just kind of funny. But you could interpret it as like Eggman is just, this is still his ship, it's still around, and he's just like still up here. So it kind of makes sense, maybe. Because in the Knuckles story, Eggman's already been defeated. And then like the ship had flown so far, and now we're just over this desert that's in like the middle of the island. Which is kind of weird. Like the game definitely, it takes place in one island, but especially in the second half, they start to like be like, we just wanted to have a desert level. And you know, it's kind of like, how big is Angel Island? But I love like the pink gradient of the sky. But it still fits like the ancient ruins theme, you know, like the ancient, like a civilization that lived here and everything. You know, it's cool to see Sonic, you know, like finally get like a desert level. And it is kind of infamous. The second act in particular kind of drags on, but I still think it's a pretty cool level. And this is when like the game's ramping up kind of towards the conclusion. There's still quite a bit left, but I always think of this as like, especially like after this level, when you get to the next zone, it starts to get like really epic, and it feels like you're like really getting towards the end. This level's kind of like the beginning of that feeling. There. Still looking for the secret rings, but Sonic and the secret rings, man, they're just really tough to find in the latter half of the game. I feel like they're everywhere in the first half. Could be one over here. Oh. I do kind of wish there's like multiple pyramids in the background. I kind of wish there was just one, because you go to a pyramid at the end of the level and then you go inside it. I think that would be more like, usually the game is pretty good at that kind of thing, making it feel like you're moving in the world and having like with a death egg in the background of launch base, like you're going towards something. So I kind of wish there was just like one pyramid, so that's like the pyramid that you're going towards. Can I go down there? No. I kind of figured. Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point, the Super Emeralds, I'm kind of... You really gotta like find a lot in that first zone. You gotta find like 4 there, and then like there's like 2 in Flying Battery I know of, and then get like the last 1 or 2 in the Lava Reef zone. I feel like that's usually how I've done it in the past. Otherwise, I just... Yeah, I don't know where they're located enough in these later zones. That's fine, we'll just play through the levels. I feel like I'm kind of like playing the game a little slow because I'm looking for those too, so... It's kind of the thing with these Sonic games. You can kind of play it one of two ways. You can kind of like take it slow and explore and find those hidden special stages. Or you can just kind of like go through the levels more speedily. This might be heading towards the boss. Oops. No, not quite yet. There might be a ring over here. I think I messed it up. What if I just jump over here? No. Oh well. Those scorpion robots always scared me when I was a kid. Is there one here? No. This is a fun gimmick, this like grappling thing. I do think the level uses it a bit too much. Uses it like one too many times. Alright, I think we're at the boss now. But I do love this moment when you like descend down into where you fight the boss. Like the background changes and stuff. It's really cool. And here's another one of those little like scenes. Pyramid rising up. I guess the pyramid's like underground, that's why you wouldn't see it in the background. Cool. And this boss is funny. I was like this boss like felt different. It's not like it's not like an Eggman machine, or it might be, but it just like doesn't look like one. So yeah, it's just a lot of different little ideas for all the bosses and mini-bosses. So you can hit this boss and it like knocks them back, but I think it's funny to just kind of let them jump into the sand themselves. I think if you do time it right, they can just jump right into it, but... Now Act 2. The infamous Act 2. I do like this level. I think it's like really... Like, as a kid, this was the scariest, most intense... So you gotta like turn on this light to ward off these ghosts later. They teach you the mechanic here. Also, it's weird in the background. It just looks like it's straight up humans in the murals. Though there are humans in Sonic's world. Just like at this point in the series, that wasn't really a thing. Plus, they are like echidnas. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe they are. I don't know. Humanoid echidnas. Mess that up. So yeah, so you go down and then you inadvertently destroy this capsule that releases all the ghosts. And then you gotta deal with them the whole level, and it's so tense. And the level's super long, and there's like all these sections where you gotta like avoid rising sand. It's like, this was like the point where like, I feel like you would get stuck as a kid, and if you made it to Lava Reef, then you're really in like the end game, and it felt like so cool and exciting to see like what came after this level. This part's always kind of funky. Gotta like jump across the slides. But I still just like the idea of the level. I just think my criticism of it is it goes on a little too long. Just wears out its welcome a bit. Dang. Can we get back there? Okay. Oh my god. Oh, is the switch back here? Yeah, and that's the other thing about this level, is it's got like all these little puzzles and stuff. You can kind of get tripped up. So, it can be a little tedious. Yeah, I do think this and like Carnival Night, at least kind of like that first bit of Act 2, are kind of the low points of the game. It does like drag just a bit. I don't think that's really like a hot take to say. I feel like I've heard a lot of people say that, at least about this level. And I would have said before replaying it yesterday, I still prefer it to Metropolis Zone, which has always been one of my least favorites, but Metropolis Zone, really, it wasn't that bad when I replayed Sonic 2 yesterday. It was kind of worse in my memory. I think it's just because it's like 3 acts. And again, I just think visually and thematically it's not very interesting. And yeah, at this point, I have no idea where the giant rings are in this zone. So I think we kind of just borked the Super Emeralds, but oh well. At least we got the original 7, so hopefully that's enough. And then what's cool is when you play this as Knuckles, the canister of ghosts is already destroyed, you know, because it takes place after this story. And that also functions, it feeds into the way that Knuckles' campaign is like a hard mode, because the ghosts are harassing you since the beginning of the level instead of partway through it. And these sections were always so scary and tense. Like I mentioned this when I played Sonic 2 with the rising lava and hilltop. This would later become kind of a platformer trope, these kind of rising sand areas. I feel like the Kirby series does it. I remember there's a section in Kirby 64 like that. Thanks, Tails. I love those moments with Tails when he helps out. It just really feels really like you're on this adventure together, helping each other out. So I like playing with just like one character like Sonic alone, but I also just, when I kind of want to experience like the full story feeling of the game, I like to play with Tails. Which way? Uh-oh. Better just keep going. This one went on for a while. Here's where it starts to get intense. I want to let the ghosts like reveal their true form for a minute, because they get really scary. Takes a while. Yeah. And that's when they start attacking you. They like fly towards you. It does take a while though. They give you a lot of time. Doesn't quite make a sense these are here, like in the pyramid, but I don't know. Maybe people were like excavating it and using that. But it is like a lost hidden civilization, so maybe not. I'm just speculating, and that's like another Knuckles route. Hidden, yeah. I was gonna say in Sonic 3 alone, those were so mysterious, but obviously this level was not in Sonic 3 on its own. On 7 minutes in good old Sandopolis. Everyone's favorite 10-minute Sonic level. Yeah, it definitely drags on. Definitely drags on. What is the... I think we gotta go... Oh god, how did that happen? I wasn't like paying attention. Oh my god, it's so scary. It's so scary. There it is. Yeah, so then they start attacking you. They wait a while before they attack. They're pretty lenient with it. I think this is the last section of the level. I hope. Yeah, we're at the boss. Alright. Not too bad. And the boss is cool. I always like this boss. It's pretty epic. It's like this giant egg golem, if you will. So I always felt Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, part of why they remain like my favorite 3D Sonics is Sonic Adventure 1 especially, they just captured the feel of these games, I feel like the closest in a lot of ways. And it's cool that the series like changed and did different things, I always liked that, but just putting that in like 3D, like the pyramid level in Sonic Adventure 2 reminded me of this. I just like how they took these ideas and kind of put them into 3D in a cool way. Yes, one of my favorite levels ever. Music, just the way... I love this. This level is just... This and Ice Cap and Starlight Zone are my top 3 levels in the entire series. And this level is... And now we're like in the end game, basically. And the game just gets so good here. It's one of my favorite like ending stretches of any game. So yeah, I love how you're in the pyramid, you're already like kind of underground, you fall down further underground, and now we're getting to like the heart of the island, which I love. And then there it is, like see in the background and the ceiling in the middle, you can see the death egg sticking out of the ceiling. That's where it crashed. It crashed into like a volcano on the island. And this level is all about like going closer and closer to it and then ramping into like the true finale of really like the whole classic era of Sonic, and it's just so epic and cool. Again, the game just takes you on such a big adventure. It really felt like this like culmination. Like I get what people mean, where like Sonic 2 is really like kind of breezy and quicker and a little more straightforward, and I get that appeal. But I just appreciate what both games do. And I love how this is such a big adventure, and it felt appropriate as like the final big like classic era 2D game. And yeah, you can get a good view of the Death Egg up there. But yeah, I just love the design of this level. Like it's very platformery, but it just moves, it flows really nicely. I don't know. It's just always been a favorite, and I love the music too. Again, the rocks kind of have that 3D look I was talking about as well. Oh, geez, brutal. Another Dimps moment there. Those are so fun to activate. I love when you have to like activate stuff with like the spin dash. I love the idea of Sonic like activating like Eggman's technology with like this kind of unique moves. Like Eggman probably didn't intend that. Sonic's just always finding ways to just kind of screw him over because that's how he is. Imagine Eggman's watching Sonic on like a monitor or something and be like, oh, just getting all frustrated, like, that little hedgehog, I hate him, he's always doing this. Like, using his own traps to his benefit and everything. Almost died there. There might be a ring in here. I might find another one. Yeah, I didn't find a single one in Sandopolis. Okay, that's just like a secret. There's one around here. Is this the... No, I wanna do the one where it's like you're going up like with the electric balls. That's the one I'm trying to find. 'Cause I haven't seen that yet in this playthrough, but oh well. Okay. I feel like there's a special stage. Is it like you go on one of these springs and it like launches you way up maybe? I don't know. Oh well. Let's just play the level. Just enjoy the level. I can't get all the emeralds at this point anyway, really. It's so fun. That was weird and lucky. Oh, jeez. Rings. I still love that moment. I just love how the rocks are like shaded. They kind of have like this highlight to them. That's a thing. No. 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 Look at Tails down there. It's like, Sonic, go this way. You got it, buddy. So they're like on this adventure together. They came, like, this is right after Sonic 2. They just came right over here to stop Robotnik. Sonic 2 and 3, they really kind of like... It's really like kind of three parts almost. Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and then Sonic and Knuckles are all part of the whole Death Egg saga. That's not good. Thanks, Tails. Yeah, oh well. Jeez, I lost them all again. Oh, jeez. I was like right at the corner of its hitbox, probably. Maybe we can insta-shield these things to get them pretty quick. Can we do that? No. I like this boss because it's kind of like a... It's almost like a preview of a... Damn. Alright, I guess you can't really spin dash away from it. It's a preview of like one of the final bosses, except like in reverse, kinda. Because the final boss also involves like a giant hands trying to crush you, but from the background instead of the foreground. Where am I? Oh, that doesn't one-shot you, that's good. I don't think I've ever had this much trouble with this boss. Again, I got rusty. I used to play all these games at least once a year, if not more so. And it's just been a long time. At least a couple years. Right. Alright, and here's where things get really cool. Literally. So the lava cools down, the music is completely different, and it's the same song as the hidden Super Emerald area. And then suddenly you're just like in this crystal like cavern. And like you just know like you're near somewhere special. You know the game is ramping up to the finale because the music is the same. Like you know you're moving towards that secret area where all like the Super Emeralds and the Master Emerald are hidden. And again, I just love that. I call it storytelling, but it's just like it's like a form of storytelling. You know, it's telling the story through the level progression. And by story, I also just mean like the experience of the game, of being in this game world and going on this adventure, and not just like a bunch of cool levels strung together, but you actually feel like you're moving through this one big connected environment. And it just feels really, really special and impactful. Wow. Let's see if we can get that. Here we go. This is the one I wanted to see. Sonic Mania would take this idea and really run with it in the final level, which I'm not a huge fan of. Sonic Mania is a great game. I think I might play through Sonic Mania on June 23rd on Sonic's actual birthday, because I want to revisit that now too. But I don't love its final level. I think it's the game's biggest issue. It's not my favorite. I just think it kind of drags on, and it's not like super fun to me. But most of the other levels are incredibly fun. these kind of pulley systems like we're in Sonic 1 and 2. A few of the levels go that way. And this kind of like crystal cavern aesthetic, I feel like it's very classic Sega to me in a way. I don't know, it just... The Freedom Planet games do this kind of thing too, and it feels very nostalgic and reminiscent of like the classic Sega era. But it's also like a common motif that all the games would go on to use. Oh, I actually found another one. I was kind of talking about that a little bit when I played Hollow Knight, because it's kind of a crystal kind of area, and I was kind of saying that like that area kind of didn't stand out to me as much as the other areas in that game, because it felt a little more typical of like other games, where so many of the areas in Hollow Knight I feel like are so memorable and special and stuff and unique. But, you know, this is like one of the early examples of that, and I think it's just... I do like that theme, and I think like this is one of my favorite examples of it. But yeah, it's in like the Donkey Kong Country games, it's in Sonic. Celeste kind of has a lot of that going on. I'm thinking of like that classic Sega Saturn game Estelle, I feel like, which I haven't played myself, but I've watched a playthrough of, and I feel like that it kind of has that kind of vibe going on. Oh, I was literally just gonna say, maybe I can get 3 of them. Maybe just 3 Super Emeralds, but no. We got 2 of them. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get them all. I kind of wanted to just like show that off and do a full, complete playthrough. I used to do that like all the time. I used to always love just playing through the full thing with all the emeralds. But it's just been a little too long since I played through this, so I would need to like learn the stages again and stuff. But the first 7 were fine. Those weren't an issue. Here we are. Part's always a little tricky. And you can tell the level starts getting a little weird here. It's like, what's going on? We're like climbing higher and higher, and there it is. It's so cool. And these AI viewer bots are really obnoxious. We're climbing closer and closer. We're getting closer to it. There it is. It's so cool. And then Knuckles. No, Knuckles, you don't understand. Robotnik isn't your friend. Pushes you all the way back down, and then it's like, oh shit, it's right there. It just lights everything on fire again. And Robotnik's back there. This is like his final trap, like, I'm gonna get him this time. Sonic will never get through this one. And then as we'll see, it's one of his silliest machines ever. He just like hurts himself with it. He did die though. This is also kind of cool because it's kind of almost like an Act 3 of Lava Reef. But it's just like this cool set piece moment. Again, it's just so cool. Like there's just so many cool little moments. Just takes you on such an adventure. I really love this boss music too. One of my favorite like boss themes in a retro game. And just ever. So there is a flame shield somewhere around here. There it is. So you literally can't get hurt with this there. Then he pops up. That was the little ship he was in the background. And you just don't have to do anything. That they just go right into his face. But I still like this boss. I think it's a fun idea. It's almost a little like a Sonic CD boss in a way, more of like this little weird movement puzzle than like a conventional fight. And I don't love those bosses in Sonic CD. As I said earlier in the stream, Sonic CD is not my favorite. But again, I appreciate the inventiveness there. They were trying something different. Yeah, overall, I just think the level design is so much more engaging in the Genesis games than CD. Like, it's no contest for me. It's more engaging when you try to find all the generators in CD, but even then, the way that those levels are laid out, they're just kind of like these giant squares with a bunch of stuff in them. They just don't feel very inspired to me. I don't know. CD's, its main strength, it's like its vibes for me, but... Oh, the vibes of these games too, and they also have like everything else going for them too, so... So cool, and the music's still playing. This is the only time you just go right into, like the transition is you just going into the next room, and it's like, yep, like we're in Hidden Palace. And this was originally going to be in Sonic 2, where like the emeralds were like born or found. And then they ended up doing it here. It's like they really expanded a lot of their ideas. I was going to say earlier, too, even like the first couple of zones in this game are almost like a redux of Sonic 1. They have like, you know, the green zone, but it gets lit on fire to kind of twist it up. And then Labyrinth Zone was going to be the second zone in Sonic 1 originally. And then Hydro City is kind of like a redo of Labyrinth Zone, making it like faster and stuff. And has kind of a similar aesthetic, and it is the second zone. And then instead of Marble Zone following that, they have Marble Garden. And then even Carnival Night is kind of the mirror for Spring Yard. And originally Sonic 3, the base Sonic 3 has 6 zones like Sonic 1, so it's kind of parallels it a little bit. So cool. And it's like, yeah, you know, you're like, all right, you're ramping up to the end of the game now. So climactic. And then finally, at long last, we face off with Knuckles. It's perfect. And he's a total pushover. Tails is kind of actually just wrecking him. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Alright, sorry, bud. And then as you can see in the background, you have this ancient mural with like Supersonic fighting this big, strange, Robotnik-like machine holding the Master Emerald. And that's foreshadowing the true final boss in Doomsday Zone. And I haven't played all the games involving Shadow the Hedgehog, but so I don't know all the lore with him, but supposedly like Gerald Robotnik saw this mural or something, and that was like kind of his inspiration to make the ultimate life form, and why Shadow's quills are more spiky, because they're kind of based on this prophecy of Supersonic saving the island from Robotnik. So yeah, here we are. It's so cool, like you see this earlier, and now we're actually physically got there instead of just warping here. Robotnik's true colors are revealed. He steals the Master Emerald. They're like, no, let him go! Let it go! Oh, it's so brutal. He electrocutes Knuckles. It's such a cool, interactive little piece of storytelling. You alright, Knuckles? Oh, this way, guys. Sorry about all that. And then he's like all like tuckered out because of what just happened. Leading the way. It's so cool. Like this, it's just such like a cinematic moment for the time, and like then the trio. This is where the trio was formed, you know. Classic trio, and then there it is. It's rising. It's shooting out all the little egg robos. They're gonna attack me in this zone. And now it's all about like its launch. We gotta stop it again, like at the end of Sonic 2. The music is so epic. It really like fits the moment in the story. And then Knuckles is like, go on without me. Stop him. It's so good. And you only get that moment if you kind of wait there for a minute, and like I think you like duck down, or if you just wait there. And yeah, so here's the Egg Robo. It's like Robotnik's ultimate soldier force. This level is just so beautiful, and this level especially is very Castle in the Sky aesthetic, like I was kind of saying earlier. I think that serves as an inspiration for this game's art. Because in that, Laputa is like this yellowish, yellowed stone overgrowing with like greenery. It's incredibly reminiscent of that movie. Of those little clouds. I like the end of the game, you're getting higher and higher in the sky too, and eventually you go to space, of course. And then we have this cute little like we revisit the bosses with Mecha Sonic driving them. Metal Sonic was in Sonic CD, and that's the one that's kind of stuck around the most in terms of like the metallic Sonics. And there's Silver Sonic in the Game Gear games, and there's the one in Sonic 2, which I forget its name. I think it's like Silver Sonic Mark II or something. I just kind of think of it as Silver Sonic as well. And this one is Mecha Sonic, which I think is like the coolest design of all of them, honestly, maybe. I always really liked Mecha Sonic. Yeah, this level, extremely iconic. One of the zones that the series would go on to reuse over and over again, unfortunately, instead of doing new original cool things, which I really want it to do. But it was cool when they remade it in Generations. I really want them to go back to the series roots and do more really original creative zone themes. And Superstars kind of did that, you know, it had original zones, which I appreciated. And I do like that game, probably more than most, honestly, besides its bosses, but its level design is pretty fun for the most part. I also love how, like, no matter where you go in this level, you're just kind of moving forward. Like, even if you fall, you kind of land on another part of the environment. And again, it fits the overall Ancient Ruins theme the whole game has going on. There's, like, there was a society in the desert, there's a society, like, in the middle of the island in Marble Garden. And then there was these ruins up in the sky, too. I always like how that looks. Music, of course, is fantastic. What's the point of that? Then you get the boss of Metropolis. I guess they just didn't want to do the silly drill egg mobile. This is like a memorable boss from Sonic 2, made easier by the Insta-Shield. Launches you off. I love when Sonic levels and like Sonic-like games have these levels designed where when you go forward, even if you like fall or something, it's designed in a way that something catches you and like launches you back upward. They kind of planned for how they'd flow. I feel like the Freedom Planet games do a good job with that a lot of the time. Yeah, here we go. One of the coolest... Oh, we're not quite there. But the boss of this level is one of my favorites. It's not super hard, I love how he looks. This part's so iconic. Yeah, I love how Mechasonic looks, and I think this is just like a really fun fight. He's so cool looking. And you gotta like hit him on the front, otherwise his spikes damage you, like Silver Sonic and Sonic 2. I love how like big he is too. He's such a cool design. The sprite is so good. Which is why I was reused in a lot of like fan animations back in the day. And we don't kill him. And then spoiler alert for Knuckles' campaign, but he's actually like the main villain in Knuckles' story. He comes back and he's like the final boss there. He turns into like Super Mechasonic. It's so cool. This moment, just another cool set piece, like a cutscene really. And it's also, this whole image is very reminiscent of the end of Castle in the Sky, where like it's falling apart and at the bottom is like round and mechanical like the Death Egg. And it's like falling apart in cubes like that. And you start this level running, which is like, I think that's different than any other level, and I love that. Maybe Hidden Palace was like that too, but it really implies like, we're rushing now towards the final battle. And then, you know, they jump on the Death Egg, they catch it in time, and it's like... Now Death Egg is finally like a full zone, unlike in Sonic 2, where like they kind of had that, they couldn't quite realize their full vision with Sonic 2. And then they do here, and it's great. The background is so like threatening, it really feels like we're in this huge space inside of it. It's funny, it's not really clear like what the Death Egg is gonna be used for, if it's just gonna fire like a big doomsday laser or something, or roboticize the whole planet. I don't know. It's never clear. It's just like a vague bad news doomsday weapon. Just like a big fortress in the sky that Eggman will use to like conquer the world, I guess. Or it's like the Death Star. I guess it's kind of like Ark and Sonic Adventure 2 maybe. I always thought of Ark as like a modern Death Egg. I thought that was kind of cool. And these little fun things. Dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. It's a very like fast final level. It's a lot different than the final levels in the previous games, which I do like, that they kind of slow down and are very scary and dangerous, because that's like the opposite of what Sonic would want, is to kind of like slow down like that. So I do appreciate them for that, but you know, just on like a base level of like a fun time, you know, like this one is funner in that way. And still is very tense and can be difficult in its own way. Tails can mess you up here, because you jump to change the this thing's direction, and if Tails jumps with you, he can like mess with that. Just a wire there. This part I was so confused by as a kid. You just hit all the things in the middle. But I got like so stuck here. I think my brother and I, when we were kids, we just rented this game a lot. I don't think we ever actually bought and owned it. And then later on, I bought it. I bought like a physical copy. So I do own them all, like original copies. And Spinball, Sonic Spinball, which is an interesting game. I think I might own 2 copies of Sonic Knuckles, actually, because I bought one that was just a standalone cart when I wanted to revisit these games when I was older. And then later on I bought like a full physical box copy. That level's a lot faster than I remember. This is like the hardest boss in the game. It's... You just gotta like insta-shield so it doesn't hit you. But it can be tricky. And of course they bring it back in Mania. They probably knew people had bad memories of it. And it's mainly like this second phase that can kind of screw you up. It can be kind of intense. Again, anything when there's like platforms that are spiky on the bottom in a Sonic boss. Like that boss at the end of Sonic 2. I always thought this is like the core of the Death Egg or something like that. I don't know if that's actually true, but there we go. So I love how quickly you can get through these classic Sonic bosses if you just kind of get in the right sequence of attacks. They really reward like kind of trying to do things fast, which is appropriate for Sonic. Then we got Sonic's planet in the background. The big space level started in Sonic 2, would go on to be like a huge trope in the series. But really kind of like took off here. We have this full level in space. I always thought those little robots that fire, and then, so, okay, well, we'll talk about, I was gonna say, those little robots that fire little balls at you, I always thought they looked like Santa. Still how I think of these guys. They look like a little, or like the Poppy Brothers from Kirby. Reminds me of that. I need to hydrate. But, so yeah, anti-gravity, right? This level has anti-gravity platforming. That blew my mind when I first saw it as a kid, and like you hit these, and then you're platforming on the ceiling, and that was mind-blowing. This is the first game that I ever saw do that. Maybe the first one that ever did do it. And again, another way. I love all the machinery there in the background too. It's like thematically, this level is so much cooler than Metropolis Zone. You know, it's so much more interesting. And Metropolis Zone was kind of just like another factory. This is like so much more climactic. But as I said when I played Sonic 2 yesterday, I still love the way that game's finale ramps up. I just feel like this game's finale is taking that same kind of idea and just like escalating it like, you know, tenfold. And really like executing on that full vision. It's so cool. But it's this anti-gravity stuff and it like reappearing in like Sonic Adventure 2 as well. It's part of why when Mario Galaxy came out, everyone was freaking out and like, oh my god, I can't believe the game is doing this with a platformer. And even though Mario Galaxy pulled it off extremely well, and it's still a really impressive game in a lot of ways, and I still love that game, even if it's not like my personal favorite Mario. It just, that wow factor wasn't there as much for me because of this game, and because of Sonic Adventure 2, even though it was more janky there, Sonic Adventure 2 also did that kind of thing with the planetoids. In that mad space level that everyone hates, but I remember being just like impressed by it when I played it as a kid. And then the same with this, like this just, you know, was the first time I saw this, and it like really... Shoot. Like this is when it really like blew my mind. Yeah, not to knock on Galaxy too much. It's still, they executed it in a really polished way, and it's still really impressive. Again, it's more like the wow factor. I remember seeing reviewers being like, "I can't play this. I'm platforming on the ceiling," and I'm like, "You never played a Sonic game, did you?" It's that innovation, like. They were so ambitious and innovative with these games. Though the one thing about this level, I do think the background is a little static. And it's probably because there's so much else going on in the level. Like, they maybe couldn't do much with it. I did always think like the space background in Death Egg and Sonic 2 looked a bit cooler. It's like more animated and stuff, but... The planet's like, it could look a bit more like vibrant. There could be a bit more going on, some more stars, but it's a Sega Genesis game, and it's already doing a lot in this level with all these gimmicks and everything. So I get it. It's okay. It's still like an amazing moment for the time. I love all like the machinery whirring inside the walls. I feel like I haven't talked too much about the music, but yeah, like I love this game's soundtrack. It's, again, maybe my favorite of all the classic games, even though it's hard to pick. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, we got it. This is the end of the level. Tails. Oh my god, Tails, you're killing me. When Tails jumps, it screws up the direction of this little craft. But yeah, I love all the music. And it was like a big sound team. I know it's like Michael Jackson often gets brought up, but there was a ton of... He just kind of, I like worked on a few of the songs, I believe. But even those songs, I think, had other people involved. And it was like a big composer team. They did just an amazing job. So here, I used to think you just had to like... It's cool as an anti-gravity boss. You actually, I used to think you just had to like go... reversing gravity at the right time to hit it, but you can actually just spin dash into them to hit it. That took like many years to figure that out. Yeah, it's cool they take the anti-gravity gimmick and make a boss out of it. And this is like the first of the long chain of final bosses, basically, which is cool. Oh, that sound, that blah. All the sounds in this are so nostalgic to me and stuff. I like the shading and the highlights on the pixel art and on the boss is really good. Yeah, I love the artwork and the pixel art in this game. I love it in the other two Sonics, but this in Sonic 2 especially, but that's so much, now this music. And that's like the Death Egg robot, but like they made it like super massive. And this song is the best. I love it. It's always so fun to do. It's just like, it's not a hard boss, but the set piece of it and the scale, it's taking Sonic 2 and just like upping the ante with everything. And it's more than one phase, so it's just so cool. This is like in Lava Reef. It's like the reverse of that hand in Lava Reef. Almost like that was like one of this thing's hands or like a prototype for it. So the song starts going so hard. Oh, Tails can mess you up here. Because if he hits it, you'll fall through it. So you gotta be careful with that. Yeah, we're both getting hits in, which is fun. I know. Damn. And if you die here, I think you have to do it with 0 rings. Yeah, so it makes it a lot more intense. I usually don't die there. I think I was just like distracted. I was talking. Because it's kind of a simple pattern, but Tails makes it harder, actually. He gets more hits in, it's kind of a trade-off, but he can really mess you up. Because he'll just clip through the boss if he hits it first, I believe. I always like to imagine Robotnik is like sitting inside the left eye that looks really messed up. Or maybe the right one. One of the eyes. Kind of like looking out. But the eyes kind of like look different. It's a weird design. I like how they give you a chance to have rings, and if you die, it's 0, just like in Sonic 2. But they do give you that first chance to do it with rings. It's kind of interesting how they do that. So yeah, it's all about timing. You just gotta... It's like a sound cue in a lot of ways. Or at least that helps. Still visual, too. You can kind of see when it's gonna fire. Damn. Oh, it's getting tight. We got... Do we got 2 lives? I feel like I should have more than that, right? Or is that Z lives? Do I have like so many lives it's like glitched out? Maybe it's 2. I feel like I should have more than 2 lives though. I haven't... Well, I actually died a lot this playthrough. Never mind. But yeah, I love how he's using the Master Emerald to power the machine. Really kind of making the story come full circle. Might have been cool if Knuckles came in at the last moment and like helped out, but it's so cool that he helps you. And it shows how much Sonic and Tails are like heroes, you know. Knuckles kind of got tricked and he helped out, helped us get up here, and then you know, the heroes of the story saved the day. Alright, I gotta focus and do this. Because I think if I die, I gotta redo the whole zone. Like the teamwork there, Tails hitting the nose and me hitting it. Yeah, when you jump, Tails kind of hits the nose. So it's like we're teaming up. That's really fun. God, that was tight. Whew. It is a really tense boss. Even if it is kind of simplistic. It's like chasing you too. It's so cool. Okay, not over yet. You can die here. I watched a streamer once. His name's Macaw45. He plays a lot of obscure retro games. Kind of like a history museum of retro stuff. I'd recommend checking out his stream sometime. See some interesting stuff there. You could fall off, and he was playing through this, and he fell off at the last second. I think he got a game over. And I don't think he had any continues, and he got so mad. Which, I get it. I think it was there. I think he bounced off, and it was like Sonic sacrificed himself. And now here we go. Alright, so we still got this, because we got the original 7 emeralds. But yeah, I love that chase sequence. It's like just like a narrative moment. And then like the game just... So you unlock this if you get at least the 7 Chaos Emeralds, or all 14. And yeah, it's just one frantic Robotnik somehow gets the Master Emerald and still escapes, and you gotta chase him down. And now the space... Now because the level has less going on, this space looks a lot more like beautiful and cool. The space environment. And this was the start of like the supersonic epic final boss, which is so cool. Again, this game really, like I've been saying all along, it was the culmination of the classic era, and it cemented the direction Sonic would go in. This mix of like the speedy platforming, the storytelling, all the cool set piece moments and stuff. I love how like frantic the song is. It's just such an impressive boss for the time. Like it might not be as impressive as some of like the supersonic fights in the 3D games, but again, for the time, like, this is just so cool. And it still is really fun. The music is so good. So you're counting down your rings. If you run out, you die. It could definitely be tricky. I think if you get hit, you lose more of them. And you gotta lure these missiles into Big Man's ship. Got him. And then phase 2. And then I love this. It's like... So he bursts out in the Death Egg robot from Sonic 2, and it just feels like full circle. It's like the climax of that game again, almost. In one frantic final chase. Also, I'm gonna die. Oh my god. Rings. Ah, okay, it's fine, we got a life. Sorry, 1 second. We'll get it this time. 1 life in a dream. This is intense. I think I have continues, and I think from the save screen you can probably restart from here. I don't think I need to do Death Egg again, but still. Let's pretend this is like the last chance. There's like a pattern to them. Shit. It's not easy to do this well, and you gotta collect as many rings as you can. I remember I can charge too if I tap the jump button. Yeah, so the trick here is to go in like a circular motion, which I'm failing at. This way works better. I'm doing not good. I might die. Shit. It's harder than it looks. Alright, I gotta focus on getting rings. Oh, this wastes so much time. Like, it's a cool sequence, but... Okay, got rings, rings. Rings. I need those rings. Okay, got some rings. Oh, it's so tense. It's so tense. The music. Rings. I need rings. Come on. Oh, no. Oh my god. Get the rings. Get the rings. Come on. 1 ring. Oh, no. Oh, that's a bummer. I think I have a continue, though. Yeah. That's a cute continue street. Oh, Knuckles is there. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad I saw that. I don't think I'm sure I've seen it before, but I haven't seen that continue screen in a long time. I wonder if they add Knuckles in after you befriend him. I'm actually glad I saw that. That's a really cute continue screen. Alright, but that might be my last continue, though I think you can. The game does have a save system. One of the earlier games where you could actually save. So I think we could probably still restart here, but I'd rather not get kicked back to the menu. It's a bit immersion breaking. So let's try to get it this time. Somebody made like a really cool animation of this fight on YouTube I remember seeing a while back. You probably just look up like Doomsday Zone animation, you might find it. We gotta get through this phase quick. That second phase is so intense because the rings get more scarce. Especially when the music starts speeding up when you're low on rings. You really gotta not take damage here though. Okay. Get 1,000 score there, it looks like. I think he takes 8 hits here, so that's 1, 2. I gotta count so I know when to risk it all and go after him. 3. That's 4. Okay, it's good ringage. 5. It's about as much as just getting him quickly as it is about focusing on the rings. It's just a really cool, fun challenge. Oh, what happened there? We got him. Yes. All right, and that's it. Little icon in the corner there. That was funny. Almost like a loading icon. I wonder if that's the specific port I'm playing on the Wii. So once again, Sonic's falling. Tails saves him, just like the end of Sonic 2. And they keep that in, even if you're even though you're super. They leave that in as a little narrative moment where Tails rescues him. Unlike in Sonic 2, where if you're super, you just float alongside the plane. Catch the Emerald, Robotnik just plummets into the ocean. Sonic Origins adds a little cutscene where he's like floating in a tube and one of his badniks pops it or something, I forget, but... I still gotta play the Origins versions. I never really played them. I just kind of like, I saw that scene when I watched a playthrough. And they return the Master Emeralds. And that's wherever you can, if you look really close, you can see like a pyramid. You can see like kind of all the zones. That's where the whole game took place on Angel Island. I love how the water pouring off it is animated. So yeah, Angel Island floats back up with the Master Emerald back on it after the Death Egg caused it to like plummet down. Well, the Master Emerald was still there, so it's kind of weird, but I guess the Death Egg just kind of messed it up for a little while. So yeah, that is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The Sonic story, anyway. If you play Knuckles' story, you get a different final boss and some different routes through the levels and stuff like that. So yeah, that Hirokazu Yasuhara, I did look into it after I played Sonic 2 yesterday. He was the lead designer. Like, he directed this game, and he was like, he did design the levels in Sonic 1, 2, and 3. I'm not sure if he was like the only level designer, but I think he was like the lead one. And yeah, so much of how fun the level design is in these classic Sonics is credited to, I feel like, comes from that person, and they deserve a ton of credit. And everyone who worked on these games. And he went on to work at Naughty Dog on the Jak series, Jak and Daxter. And I think Uncharted 1 as well, I think in the level design department. And then he went to Nintendo, and I don't really know what he's doing nowadays. I think his last game credit was like one of the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, and that was a while back. I think the medleys in Sonic 1 and 2 are a little better. They flow into each other a little better, where this one kind of displays the songs from the game, from the different levels. It's just like a minor little gripe. It's also funny how Sonic's name on the plane is just reversed. They just reversed the sprite. Haha. Because they're flying the other way. Also still has the rocket, like in the end of Sonic 2. Which is great. Here it comes. The main kind of motif. da, 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 da. So the only difference with if you get all the super emeralds, you get an extra little scene where, so yeah, we do get this, and this is what leads into the epilogue with Knuckles' story, because this Egg Robo is like the villain there. And then again, spoilers for Knuckles' campaign, ends up basically being like a pawn of Mecha Sonic, who is still alive, and trying to steal the Master Emerald for himself. But if you get all the Super Emeralds, you get an extra little scene of Knuckles on Angel Island with the Master Emerald, kind of watching Sonic and Tails fly away. So that's nice. Kind of missed out on that for not getting all the emeralds, but that's okay. We got 2 of them, yeah. I've done it in the past. I feel like I've done it several times, but I'm just a bit too rusty. But then you can see, this is what I mean by like the color schemes, like every zone, all these little thumbnails, they all have like their own little kind of color scheme going on and stuff. I always love these little thumbnails of all the levels. And I feel like the Freedom Planet games do that kind of thing well too. Every level kind of has its own visual thing going on. Yeah, and I would love at some point I'll like stream the Freedom Planet games or do like a let's play of them or at some points. Freedom Planet 1 especially, I just think thematically the levels in that game are just so inventive and cool. And Freedom Planet 2 has a ton of cool levels as well. I just think the first game especially, I want to call them zones, but I just feel like the theming of them and the music and stuff is just like so like out of this world. Super like memorable and like unique and stuff. But yeah, they're both great games, both super worth playing. Highly recommend them, especially if you like Sonic. I feel like they're kind of relatively underrated, at least as like far as indie games, platformers kind of go. But if you like classic Sonic, they're a must-play. Or just like kind of like action platformers and stuff. Gunstar heroes, bosses, all that good stuff. Style bosses. So yeah, Doomsday Zone's super fun. I like how it's like this frantic chase. You're just kind of, it's like really tense and everything. And it's just like one final chasing down Robotnik to get the Master Emerald once and for all and return it. And this is like the big culmination of like the classic era and the story that kind of started in Sonic 1 and really in Sonic 2 with the Death Egg. And yeah, I just, I still adore this game. I consider it's up there with Mario 3 is like my favorite platformer. Again, all the things I talked about with like the connections between the zones, how the world's so connected, all the little storytelling moments, it just really invites you into this world. I think the majority of the levels outside of like Sandopolis Act 2 and Carnival Night, by and large, are just super fun to play through, and they all kind of have their own gimmicks going on and like different, some of them are kind of like left to right, some of them you go a little back and forth. You can get tripped up at times and get a little lost. They're definitely bigger than Sonic 2 zones. I think replaying Sonic 2 yesterday made me appreciate that game's level design more than ever, and I am a little like... I just really think both Sonic 2 and this game are great, I am a little bit like, they are kind of close, which one... This one is my favorite because of all the storytelling stuff and the connected world and all that. And, the levels are super fun. But I still would probably say this has the strongest level design. But Sonic 2 it's kind of closer than I remember last time I replayed them all. I just had a lot of fun playing through that yesterday. And I do appreciate it's like a breezy, short game. This game, I'm going on 4 hours now, right? Like, I mean, I yapped for like half an hour at the start of stream. So it's like a 3-hour game. Sonic 1 and 2 are like an hour and a half or so. So it's like twice as long, which I get can be kind of a detriment for some people, especially when like Sandopolis kind of drags. But after Sandopolis, the game just gets like so epic, and like I just love that whole finale. But yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I think all three, Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles are all just extremely special. And yeah, I still consider this one of my top 10 games of all time. We didn't get the Super Emeralds, but uh, I was playing it a little slow too. Like it's kind of like you can either play it more slow and explore, or just kind of speed through the levels. So I feel like I maybe didn't do the best job, kind of like showing off some of the levels because like I was going kind of slow and backtracking to look for the emeralds. But yeah, I just think stuff like Ice Cap and Mushroom Hill and Hydro City and all those levels, like there's just a lot of really fun. This definitely has the most speedy levels of all the classic games, for sure. Um, but yeah, Sky Sanctuary is a really cool level. And then Lava Reef, which is, it's like, again, it's like a cool mix of platforming and the speedy stuff. I think it flows together really well. Let me get some water. But yeah, I consider this game like kind of the pinnacle. It really is kind of firing on all cylinders. But really, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 Knuckles, and Sonic Mania, I think are like the three most well-designed games in the series. And I think like if you're only gonna play a few Sonic games, those are the ones to play. Maybe the adventure games because they're so iconic. Um, I do kind of think that Adventure 1's a bit more solid than 2. I personally just like its soundtrack and its vibes to a large extent, maybe more. And I think its levels have maybe aged a bit better, or just thematically, or maybe like a bit more kind of colorful and interesting to me. But I still love Sonic Adventure 2. It's a really fun ride, and it has a lot of like memorable, iconic moments. I just think that some of the storytelling stuff in Adventure 2 maybe hasn't quite aged as well. I love it, like I love it. It's just so much fun to me. I have so much nostalgia for it, and some of the stuff with Shadow and all that towards the end, it's still, it still can get like, especially like when I played when I was younger, I was so like into the story, and it can get pretty emotional. But I think the story in Sonic Adventure 1, it kind of ties into these classic games a bit more, and I always kind of liked that lore aspect of it. And even if some parts of it don't quite work as well, like Big the Cat's being tied into it. I think Big the Cat's a fun character, but the way he ties into the story is like a little silly. But yeah, I don't know. But I'd have to replay those to revisit them. It's been forever since I played them. I've like watched a lot of playthroughs in recent times though. But anyway, before to conclude the stream, I wanted to check out the Sonic and Knuckles manual because I didn't do it at the start. I read the Sonic 3 one. So this was like picking up in Mushroom Hill, and it says save floating island. The last time Sonic and Robotnik went head to head, Sonic blasted Robotnik's Death Egg to smithereens. The explosion heaved Sonic deep into floating island's Mushroom Hills. Mushroom Hills. It gives it a S at the end. That's funny. Sonic knows that many emeralds, including the Master Emerald, are hidden somewhere on Floating Island. He bets this Knuckles character knows where they are. Sonic can't let Robotnik get his hands on the Master Emerald. He'd have Death Egg fuel forever, and Floating Island would be destroyed. So that kind of tells you what Death Egg does. Now Sonic's got two problems: how to protect the Master Emeralds, and how to keep Knuckles off his back. He'll have to deal with that wild echidna right away. Knuckles has problems too. As guardian of Floating Island and all the emeralds, Knuckles has a mission: to wage war on all invaders. Whoever threw that bomb is in deep trouble. And this is at the start of Knuckles' campaign. Like the Egg Robo throws like a bomb that like interrupts Knuckles just kind of chilling out with like his animal friends. Knuckles is ready with tricks, traps, and barefooted attacks to keep Floating Island safe. Sonic's not taking any any changes. I think it's meant to say chances. Neither is Knuckles, but while they're going the rounds with each other, who's stopping Dr. Robotnik? Could this be the end of Floating Island? And then it says Mushroom Hill Zone. Fantastic mushrooms cover the lush hills deep in Floating Island's interior. Many useful kinds of plants grow here. See how they can help you. Flying battery. Go flying on Robotnik's warship. Watch where you step. Sneaky traps are everywhere. Sandopolis Zone. No desert has shiftier sands than this treacherous terrain. Play the sands to your advantage. Time your attack on the Scorp just right. The Scorpion robots. Lava Reef. Enter the biggest, hottest zone on Floating Island. Beware of exploding rocks and toxo misters that poison the air. Hidden Palace Zone. Some mysteries are solved. Robotnik makes his big play, and Knuckles finds out who the real bad guy is. I like how these old manuals will just kind of spoil everything. It's kind of funny. Sky Sanctuary. Take the Battle of the Clouds when Sonic fights Robotnik's badniks on the floating ruins of an ancient time. Death Egg. Face... Okay, well, you don't need to ball chain Robotnik there, but face belligerent Robotnik and his whirling Death Egg. Doomsday Zone. Sonic unleashes incredible emerald forces in this final shattering showdown with Robotnik. This Resident even kind of spoils Doomsday. And all the badniks, which are Butter Droid is a funny name. Robotnik's army is made up of your unfortunate roboticized friends who've been turned into badniks. Give them a whack to set them free. And yeah, playing these games, it's just another cool element how you just, the enemies you fight, I think I mentioned it in Sonic 1, you're freeing your animal friends, and it just gives this incentive. It's this extra layer of like storytelling incentive that makes it feel good to like defeat the enemies. Was the Egg Robo, Santa Claus ones, then like all the lock-on stuff. And then you can play as Knuckles in Sonic 2, which was cool. Echo. I have a history with these games. I think especially Echo 1 is a very terrifying game. It's super like foreboding and like isolating and atmospheric. Where is the line? Is it in Sonic 3's manual? There's a really funny little... Okay, I think it's here. Okay, so this is it. So the last hint, it gives you all the, you know, you use the spin dash attack to climb up steep hills, all these little tips, which is cute. It's something classic game manuals did. And then it says Dr. Robotnik has created many diabolical traps which take advantage of Sonic's ultra-fast speed. Watch out for traps that Sonic cannot escape. If you fall into the wrong trap, you might have to reset the game by pressing the reset button and start again at the beginning of the zone you were last in. When Sonic is flashing after being hit, don't let him travel too quickly. So it's referring to glitches, basically, and it's contextualizing glitches as traps for Robotnik's diabolical traps, which is so funny. Yeah, just like one of the funniest little details in like a classic game manual. But alright, I've been going for 4 hours. I'm glad I figured this game would take about 4 hours. Probably would have taken even longer if I got all the emeralds, maybe. But yeah, definitely a longer game than the other two. But can I reset? Go back to the... I gotta sit it on the console. So yeah, I had a blast playing through this game again. I had a blast playing through Sonic 2, even Sonic 1, which I'm kind of an apologist for. 2 and 3 especially, though. I absolutely love these games. I always love revisiting them. I feel like I always find new things when I revisit them. So if anyone else out there is lurking, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll be back next week on Tuesday at 7 p.m. EST, or 7:30 maybe 7:30. I might change my my official time to 7:30 p.m. So yeah, Tuesday 7:30 p.m. EST. Usually go till about 10. Not quite sure what I'm gonna play next. I have a couple things in mind. I might replay Super Metroid. I've kind of been thinking about that since finishing Hollow Knight. Try to compare them as Metroidvanias. Or I have a couple other retro games I might do a first playthrough of, but I'll post about it on my Blue Sky starting next week. But either way, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for checking out the VODs. And yeah, just happy anniversary to Sonic. And I think I might play Sonic Mania on June 23rd, Sonic's birthday. So yeah, anyway, it's been fun. I love Sonic. Always love revisiting these games. And thanks again, and take care.